traffic. Gonna go deep. Has a man deep. It is caught for the touchdown. Corey Davis.
If he has good technique, if his technique becomes great, not just good, then he's a Hall of Famer. Drive face, full cell vertical, get into the blind spot, and he absolutely burns it. Corner is lost. He literally has no idea where he goes from this.
Really high floor, really high ceiling. We could be talking about the best corner in the league. Sauce can do that.
It's actual film. It's actual football talk. It's a football show. It's about football, not storylines.
And you are listening to another edition of Blewett's Blitz. At Blewett's
Fuck. Geez, I didn't catch everything you said because the internet sketchiness. But you said another edition of Blewett's Blitz, and I'm almost assuming that you are referring to the intro. That was that was funny, man. That made me laugh. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
Now I got.
I don't know.
So go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Yeah, it took me so long to get my name, a little bit in the intro, and now my voice has gotten in there. So pretty cool.
Yeah. Maybe we'll make it like half and half eventually. You got like a little 10-second snippet there. So yeah, I apologize for the one for the tardiness. It was mostly Kyle's fault and my fault, to be completely honest, because if I was here earlier, we would have figured out that that you were a red screen for however many minutes. So
yeah, that was weird.
That my internet is being super, super sketchy right now. I don't know why it's being super sketchy. And then in other news, I don't really know what else is out there. Mets are doing good. Yankees are doing good. I got a dog. So that is very, very exciting.
Of course, you're not going to mention the Rangers.
Right. Well, what's the series right now?
I think it's 2-2 now.
Is it 2? No, I thought it was 3. They were down more than that. I thought it was like 3-1.
They were down 2-0. I think they tied it up. I think they won their 2 games at the Garden.
Somebody will tell us, I'm sure. Love Smith lighting the fire on Sauce Gardner, saying Stingley was the better fit. Did you say that, Kyle? Oh,
I never said he was the better fit.
I think he's talking about Lovie Smith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's probably what it is.
So let's go through the chat. Probably go until about 8 tonight. Again, have a puppy to attend to now. So that's been super, super fun. And people overrate it. It's exhausting. Grow up. You'll be fine. But Stephen Engel, what's up? Don't start yet. I'm out to dinner. Be back after 7. We'll be on a little bit after 7. Stephen Engel again, maybe a little bit after 8. Kyle, we'll talk about. Let's see. There is some stuff that I noted down. Ashton Davis, talk a little bit about him. There's been some articles about him and expectations for year 3 on the Jets. We'll talk about Mims. We'll talk about Sam Darnold. There's been some comments from Brady Quinn and somebody else that somebody in the chat is going to have to tell me exactly what they said, because I do not click on their shit. I do not follow them, so I will not know. So I depend on you guys to tell me, because I will not give them the click. You guys are guilty of giving them the click, but instead of making 2 clicks, we'll make 1 click. So let's see who else is in here. Junior, I can't wait for the home opener, man. I need to link up with you and the guys in pregame fruit. No, beers are not on you, Junior. You bring your own beers. You don't have to bring food, but bring your own beers. I think that's the safest way to go. Kyle, are you going to be there for the home opener?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to be there.
What was
I'm too excited. Well, it wasn't the one because I'm trying to think there's only so many games I'm going to go to every year, but I'm strongly thinking about Green Bay. So I'm just wondering how many I'm going to go to. But home opener, man, dude, I want us to get it right this year. So I think I'm going to go. Yeah, I'll be there definitely.
Okay, good. I'll be at the home opener, so we will see Mr. Junior there. I'm sure we're gonna see a bunch of people. As you've seen in the last couple of weeks of the streams, I'm sure get together with Jets Talk 24/7. Sure, we'll link up with Let's Talk Jets. I'm sure we'll talk with a bunch of other people, a bunch of other just listeners of the show and of multiple of those streams and YouTube channels, which are all great. So make sure to go check those guys out and come tailgate with us, because the tailgates get a little rowdy, as Kyle Smith knows, because he's the person who's always there, just soberly observing everything that's going on. So I'm sure he has an even better perspective than I do sometimes. So Mikey Malls, I think I saw you're the dude with like Pikachu or something as your as your Twitter thing. So I saw you. I ignore a lot of people on Twitter, so I definitely not think you're a dick. But now I know that's you, Mikey Malls. I know you're in here quite frequently. So now I have that in the back of my head. I'm going to learn my Yang Fang.
I didn't understand that either. I saw that.
I think he's referencing Eagle Fang, but I don't know. Oh, Miyagi Fang.
No, Mr. Miyagi.
Okay. Do you watch that show at all, Kyle? Did you ever seen what the hell is it?
I actually haven't.
I watched it. It's good. It's a good show. Like, listen, I work midnights, and there's not always really a bunch of activity going on from 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So you have to kick on a show for half an hour, so you're not falling asleep. It's not a bad show. It's really corny, but it's decent. Let's keep going down. And see who else is in here. Usually not. Kyle having camera issues. Who else is in? Oh my God, Joe Cringe. What is cringe? I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know.
Yeah. Mikey Malls is coming after you.
Is it about the shadow?
It's one that you're always in the dark, and 2, it's that your camera was not working. Last week, again, you were not on the stream, but the sun.
Hey, listen, I'm saying this right now. I'm partly to blame for the camera, but if Mr. Blewett showed up a little earlier, we could have hashed that issue out before we started streaming live. Just saying. Or
I should just, expect you to be prepared for a show you've done 1,000 times.
I was prepared. I don't know. Someone was messing around with my camera, I think.
Mm-hmm. John Hassel, I don't see why non-members don't just hit the like button on the way in. I do it. Appreciate that, John. Yeah, likes, always appreciate it. Again, I don't really ask for likes, but obviously it affects the algorithm. When you throw more likes, more people see the show. More people see the show, the better it does for the website. The better the website does, the better the content is for you guys. What's up, TJ Decker? What's up, Rob D? Lieutenant Mike. Is this a different Mike, or is this Sergeant Mike who got promoted to Lieutenant Mike? I wonder if that's really in real life, or he just felt like he was going to take a step up. And then in a couple of weeks, he'll be Captain Mike, and then we'll get Chief Mike. So I don't know. Let's see. Let me know. Is that Sergeant Mike? Because I have to treat you like I treat Sergeant Mike. Let's go. I'm a hyped ant, whatever the kids say these days. I don't know. I'm kind of falling out of what they say, too. Gavin, what's up? Joe seems happy. Go me, Joe? Yeah, I'm happy. How could you not be happy with a puppy, Kyle?
Puppies are awesome, man. So my parents actually breed beagles. So I grew up around
really?
Puppies my entire life. Matter of fact, we used to have like pet day at elementary school, and my dad would bring in like a whole thing of puppies to like kindergarten kids. So you can imagine, kids loved me. Oh, your dad's gonna bring in puppies.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. We just picked them up on Tuesday night. Tuesday night we had to drive to some Amish place in Pennsylvania for 2 hours, and then drove them back. And I've been with them for 2 days, getting a lot of exercise in the backyard. So, and try to potty train, which potty training is a bitch, but we're getting there. We're getting there. He's making steps in the right direction. How
old is the dog?
12 weeks. I think 12 weeks. We just got him. So, yeah, you guys can see the dog a little bit. See.
Okay.
I can go grab him. After we get to the chat, I'll go grab him real quick, and you guys can say hello. And then he has to go back downstairs because I don't know if he's even sleeping or not, and he's not going to stay still. That is for sure. A lot of biting, a lot of gnawing stuff, a lot of treats, a lot of showing him his own poop in the house. So he doesn't go poop in the house. But Kyle, we got a good 2 poops outside and a pee outside today, so we're making progress. This is even more important than the Jets right now. So love watching that intro. A couple minutes delayed. Yeah, my bad.
He's talking about the Rangers right there.
They were down.
Right now on my screen, it seems like you're frozen and not me, but I don't know if that's what's actually happening in reality.
Yeah, no, it is, because I see it on my screen too. I get like a little loading thing. Again, okay. I've been busy, so worst case scenario, I hop off for a couple minutes, reset my router if this keeps happening, because it's being a pain in the ass. So John Hassel, what breed of the dog? So I'm allergic to dogs, so it has to be hypoallergenic. So it's a Bernese Mountain dog mixed with a poodle. It's going to get like 30 to 40 pounds probably. So Sauce is a stud. Who would have thought? Which, Kyle, let's hit on that really, really quick, just because I don't want to just keep. I want to get into a little bit of a topic. Then we'll bring the dog up. We'll see the dog. Sauce review. Did you watch it? The one I sent you or no?
I did. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thoughts, comments, concerns. Sauce. Did we see more?
It's just funny. So if you watch Joe's part 2 of his Sauce review, Like he's kind of really grasping at straws to kind of be like critical of Sauce. Like obviously we love the player. We've been hyping him up for months. You do a part 2 review and it's like, okay, let me try to really find the flaws in this game. And it's like, you're really kind of nitpicking because there's not much there. And the stuff that is there, it's really correctable. So like, okay. So he bends out his waist too much instead of bending his knees sometimes out of his stance. Okay. Yeah. See that sometimes. His tackling form. Okay. I see that as being more of a bigger issue, to be honest. Like you're like, yeah, he's going to get trucked in the NFL. Like, so sometimes like he just leans over and lets dudes run into him as opposed to running through them.
Yeah.
So, that can be an issue. He comes to some more powerful running backs in the NFL. You could see him potentially, in the open field, maybe a running back can shake free from him. But I mean, dude, he's still really, 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 really solid. There's not many flaws in his game. I'm trying to think another negative play that stood out to me. Maybe you could pull up if you wanted to that one play in the red zone of the Navy game. That wasn't his best play in the world. But dude, I love the player, and
yeah,
you guys should really watch you should watch that part 2 review.
Yeah, watch it. It just came out 2 days ago. We get into, I think it's like 2 hours and 5 minutes. We get into every little detail, obviously, about Sauce. I think the only things that he will initially struggle with, and he'll learn, obviously, and every player is going to have flaws, both coming from college, especially coming from college, and obviously, and even in the NFL, you're gonna have some problems. The bending at the waist thing at the snap, okay, you can fix that. He's gonna have to fix getting onto his heels a little bit and jump splitting. He does that a little bit too much. And obviously when you're taller, it's gonna be overemphasized. Like Trent McDuffie didn't do that as much as Sauce. Like if you put that patient to the line in terms of with his feet into Sauce's body, then you're talking where we want him to get. Like he's not as good as McDuffie in terms of not getting onto his heels, but you're really looking at that. You're looking at him being a little bit grabby past 5 yards, and you're looking at minor technical things. But like you said, Kyle, like I was, and it's not because I'm like trying to. I guess I am kind of trying to reach, but I say it a lot in that show. I'm sure, like, hey, I am being nitpicky, but there's a reason to be nitpicky because if you, in that instance, in college, he might not get beat. But if you're playing Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs, you're going to get beat there where he recovered. So for him to be what we want him to be, he's going to have to fix those nitpicky things.
Yeah.
So,
and practicing against better players on every given day and
every day. Yeah, Garrett Wilson every day, which apparently he played really, really. Again, it's his first practice or two, but apparently he played pretty well in his first practice. And even going against Corey Davis, Braxton Berrios. Berrios isn't something to throw away at receiver 4. So
yeah.
NY Bully, ripped all the victims in Buffalo, and then Uvalde, Texas, not going to get political, but we as Americans should not forget to show kindness and respect to our neighbors. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Obviously appreciate and I don't want to get into this stuff either. But it's very prevalent for obviously everybody in public spaces, but especially like in my job too. Like we have to prepare for a lot of this stuff. And especially with going into potentially by my lack of a better term, like my county SWAT team, it's something I train for a lot. And we see a lot of videos, we see a lot of pictures to kind of not motivate us, but show us to train. You have to see that stuff to get yourself used to it. So you don't go into a building or in complete shock. So I see a lot of that stuff. It needs to stop. But there's a reason I do what I do. And this stuff, I get clammy thinking about it. It bothers the shit out of me, which I'm sure it bothers everybody. But Jesus, man, it's so sad. So sad. It's but
thanks, New York Bully. Very
yeah. I don't want to keep it up there forever. I appreciate that, and it is terrible. So let's keep moving on. I was at 6:09. We'll go through the chat. I'll bring up the topics, and then we're going to bring in the dog. The dog. Let's see. Rip Ray Liotta. I'm not trying to be insensitive here. I don't know who Ray Liotta is. Who is that? Goodfellas.
Main character in Goodfellas. You've seen that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm bad with some actors' names. Okay, yes, I know him. But I don't know what it was. Jojo, what's up?
He passed away 67. I don't know what the cause of death was. That's sad.
Okay. Snoopy, of course, yeah. Ashton Davis is trash. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Maybe we don't think he's trash. Maybe we've had what's the word I'm looking for? An epiphany, Kyle, in terms of Ashton Davis and what he's going to be. Sauce covering Wilson like white on rice, worried about Wilson in the pros, or is Sauce just that freaking good? So And I'm starting to. So I just got through my Sauce review. I'm done with my Brees Hall review. I just got to record it, and now having a dog, it's gonna be really hard to record it unless my wife is home. But puppy. But I now moving on to Wilson and to Jeremy Ruckert. Wilson, like I've been saying to you guys, he has the ability to play X, to play Z, to play slot. He's going to have, and maybe Kyle will think differently, but maybe Kyle's going to test this. In my opinion, my humble opinion, maybe not sometimes so humble, he is going to struggle getting off of press coverage initially. So with Sauce, a guy who is exceptionally good at press coverage, playing Wilson in press, Wilson is just based on college going to lose that matchup more often than not. Now, Wilson has the movement skills and the ability to be a great player versus press because of his explosion. But again, his technical side of it needs work. So I would anticipate Sauce beating him up pretty good in press coverage and man coverage initially. So Kyle, do you agree with that? And is that kind of an expectation going through the first couple of weeks of camp until Garrett Wilson learns how to get off the line a little bit better?
I completely agree with what you just said. And it's also always rule of thumb to keep in mind that early on in training camps, OTAs, and things like that, defense is always kind of ahead. I mean, like when you're talking about wide receiver and stuff,
yeah,
like learning the playbook and stuff, and it's also timing with the quarterback and things like that. So it makes sense that defense is ahead of offense at this point anyway. But yeah, you want to talk about like, so I'm trying to think who Scott Mason had somebody on his podcast, and they were saying like one of the reasons that the Jets loved Garrett Wilson was his ability to defeat press coverage. I think this might have even came from Chris Nimbley, to be honest. And I was thinking like, you know, there's a lot to like about Garrett Wilson, but him defeating press coverage is not one of the things that I would rank him highly on.
No, that's one of his negative aspects, in my opinion.
And I agree with that. So, you know, you want to talk about a matchup that's not the greatest for Garrett Wilson at this point in his career, it would be Sauce. So
yeah, for sure. TJ Decker, fuck Brady Quinn and SAS. Again, I saw that people were shitting on Brady Quinn all over Twitter. I'm being very honest with you guys. I have no idea what he said. Kyle, do you know what Brady Quinn said? Is there any? Was it Wilson?
I actually did not see the verbatim quote.
Okay.
I didn't see the verbatim quote, but I think it was Harold or somebody in the chat who said something like that Zach Wilson's not that good. Something along the lines that the Jets are going to start 0-7 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess if he doesn't have faith in Zach Wilson, but like my thing with a lot of those people, when they say really generalized things, and it's really easy to escape criticism when you're just generalizing, because if you're going to delve a little bit deeper and try to give examples, or, oh, he struggled with footwork, oh, he struggled with getting through reads, and you're not really going to mention one specific thing, you're going to get away kind of easier. Like if he came in and said, oh, well, Wilson really struggled at the end of the year with his accuracy or something like that, would be like, what the fuck is he talking about? His accuracy was great at the end. So if he's not providing examples, is he really behind what he's saying? Like, that's my opinion of it. So if he just said generally, oh, they're going to be bad in the beginning of the year, Wilson's not good, without giving specific examples of why the Jets may struggle and why, which obviously the reasons they may struggle is the schedule. But if he's saying Wilson sucks, why? Tell me why. And Kyle, we do that all the time. And we're not trying to like, and I'm sure I am 1,000% sure there are people who are turned off by the stream, just in terms of, we'll see people in the chat and we will ask them, tell me why you're thinking what you're thinking, or explain yourself at least a little bit. I know it's hard in text, but give me some reasoning. And a lot of people can't do that. So, and there's a lot of, trust me, listen, I'm not shitting on anybody, but Brady Quinn obviously is the topic of discussion. There are plenty of guys out there. I'm not going to name names, from former players to guys on, I don't even care, Bleacher Report, wherever it is, who I can guarantee you they do not watch, or they don't watch, or they don't know what they're watching. Guarantee you. Bigger names than you think. And trust me, just because you play a position in the NFL does not mean you know about another position. I can almost guarantee you that one too, because there are some hot takes out there from quarterbacks about D linemen, or D linemen about receivers, that are just massively off. So it is what it is. Nick Integra, yo, what's good? Joby and Kyle Smith, what's up, Nick? God willing, be the home opener. Harold, hopefully you come over and drink I don't know if you drink. I don't want to assume anything, but if you
no, let's just say this right now. Anyone who's a regular listener of the stream absolutely has to come and meet up. It would be a travesty if they didn't. So it's not a hope. It's not a hope. It's you're going to.
We judge you harshly if you do not. So if you're saying it, I'm gonna start writing them down. Harold, who somebody said it before, that they'll be there. I'm gonna start writing some names down, and if you guys don't come,
So you're definitely gonna the tailgate spot is definitely locked down.
I don't know where we're gonna be. I'm typically in J1, people, just because it's really close to the exit. Obviously, when you're drinking a lot, you got to break the seal, and there's porta potties right there. So it's easy for us in the bus. We have a bus. We have the TV on the outside. We have grills, all that stuff. Again, it's obviously expected that you bring your own stuff to eat or drink because we can't provide for everybody. But I'm more than a dude. I love meeting people and playing some cornhole and beer pong and flip cup and whatever we're trying to do. I don't really play a lot of beer pong and flip cup, but if people want to do it, I would do it. I'm a little bit past that, but it is fun. Wilson will be fine. Sauce is just a stud. Yeah, agree with that. Let's see. Chris Sims got up to Wilson in his top QB list. He's 22 ahead of Fields, Lawrence at 22 and 23. Any thoughts? Kyle, any thought? I'm gonna cut the chat as soon as I get to 6:30 in the chat. That's when I go get the dog because I don't want to go too long. So we'll talk to the chat the entire time. Because again, now that we're so far into the offseason, the chat, it's pretty much you guys are running the show. Like we're running it by going off of what you guys are saying. But if the chat's not here, there are no shows. So, but 6:30, and then we're gonna get the dog. So, what do you think about Wilson being ahead of Fields and Lawrence going into this year? I guess Wilson's at 21. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I wish I watched. So I watched a little bit more of Lawrence than Fields last year. Fields didn't particularly impress me. I like Wilson better than Fields pretty much the whole draft process. Anyway, Lawrence. I mean, I think you'd have to say his rookie season was a disappointment. You also have to keep in mind that Sims also ranked Wilson ahead of everyone to begin with anyway. So part of that is probably him just trying to stick to his initial prediction to make himself look good. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine.
I think he could do and obviously when people talk about Wilson, they talk about how bad his rookie year was, but little do they mention how good he was at the end of the year. Like those games at the end of the year were legitimately good. Like if he
was working with nothing at the end of the year, he really was not working with a lot. No Corey Davis, no Elijah Moore. Offensive line was in shambles. Right.
If he was working, and yeah, exactly. And if he didn't have that, Kyle, I wouldn't be as excited about him. Like if he was playing, obviously the way he played it, like after that Saints game, I'm not gonna lie. I think it was it bye week, Texans, Saints. Was it Saints after them, and then it was Eagles, right? Or am I mistaken? After that Saints,
I can't remember the exact order, but
he missed so many passes that game. I was about that at that point. Like, dude, this is bad. Like he needs a game or two. And then he had the Bucks game and the Jags game and the Eagles game and even the Bills. I think the Bills game at the end. Like he played much better. And the thing that people talk about, like I don't know who it was. Maybe it was Adam who asked me last week to compare like the end of Sam Darnold's. And I see this question. I'm pretty sure it's Adam's. I apologize if it's not Adam, but if it is Adam, there you go. I'll get Kyle to answer it too. He asked me last week, like the difference in your feeling between the end of Sam Darnold's rookie year as compared to Zach Wilson's rookie year. Like, how do you feel about the?
I think Joe froze up again. Did you? Can you still hear me, Joe?
Yeah, I got it. I can always hear you when I freeze up like that.
So you're saying, how did Zach fare like at the end of the year compared to Sam Darnold?
Yeah, like what are your feelings about both of their end of the rookie year seasons? Because he was basically saying like, hey, listen, we also had a lot of faith in Sam Darnold going into year two because of his end of the year one. So like, what do you feel the differences are? How do you what's the similarities? What's the differences?
Yeah, so Darnold obviously had the higher moments at the end of the year. Bigger, I would say bigger plays at the end of the year, and the easy thing would be for me to say, especially because I'm more in the Wilson camp and always have been, that, oh, well, Zach didn't have his weapons at the end of the year. Well, Sam Darnold didn't really have as much weapons to begin with in the year period. So Darnold had more highs, but I would say that Wilson kind of almost corrected, like he did a better job, like improving what he was, so some of the mechanic stuff he cleaned up a lot, and a lot of the bad decision-making he cleaned up a lot too. So you saw growth in the areas where he was really struggling. So he might not have had as many high moments as Sam Darnold did, but in terms of improving what he was struggling with, he might have had a better improvement, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and I'll go over it quickly just because I obviously talked about it last week, but that was he literally just, hold on, let me say, he literally just fell asleep too. So I'll get him by the end of the stream. I don't know if you can see that, but he just buried his head in somewhere and is sleeping. So, we're gonna at the end, but in terms of Zach versus Sam, I mentioned that I was more comfortable. I'm more excited about Zach Wilson going into year 2 versus Darnold or I was more high on the end of year 1 because of the difference in improvements they made. Kind of like you said, where Zach Wilson really improved on what he was bad at. And to me, Zach Wilson was improving on what you do 80%, 85% of the time, where Sam Darnold, to me, was improving. It was a lot more out of structure plays, rolling out to the right, flipping a pass over, a Texans head to Chris Herndon, streaking up the sideline, where Zach Wilson was 3-step drop, getting in through his reads quickly, accuracy, decision-making, timing. Like, that was more of what he improved, which, again, if you're going to take one thing or the other, like Kyle, like I give you, hey, quarterback X versus quarterback Y. Quarterback X, has good feet in the pocket, is accurate, good decision-making, smooth going through his reads. And he did that really good his last 3 games of the season. And then quarterback X or Y, whichever the other one is, they had a couple of flash plays rolling out, throwing down the sideline. Like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm assuming you would want the guy who's more consistent from snap to snap, the things you do more frequently, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, quarterback's all about consistency, right? It's literally about what you do all the time, because, the difference between 3rd and 4 versus 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 is a huge difference of, like, all the different types of plays calls and things that you can do and stuff like that. And, making the right read on 2nd down and getting the ball to the right guy, and, having proper mechanics to be able to get to the ball to the right guy, all that stuff matters, like, on any given play. So yes, that matters more, a guy who makes a cut, but the flashy out of structure plays is kind of what separates the good to pretty good quarterbacks from the elite ones. So obviously you want both, but if your guy's not giving you that consistency, you can't be a good quarterback in this league if you're not very consistent, most of the time.
Well, and I'm not comparing any of these guys to I'm not comparing any of them to Brady, but it's not like Brady's Brady without those rolling out of structure plays. Like, you want the consistency in the pocket between the reads, the footwork, the accuracy. That's what Brady is. So, Sam, like, again, I'm not comparing anything, but like Zach Wilson was more Brady like in his improvement, where Zach or Sam Darnold was more, I don't know, Brett Favre out of structure type plays, gunslinger type plays that were working for him. It's not the best comparison, but kind of the easiest way to think about it. Eagle thing, last time the Jets had a home opener against the Ravens, Ray Lewis popped Dustin Keller. I was thinking it was a slant across the middle, and the Jets lost a very boring, low-scoring game. That was the first game of MetLife in general.
Yes, it was.
Kyle, were you there for that one or no? I'm assuming you weren't.
I was not. I really wanted to go, but I didn't.
So you have to make up for it this time. So you have absolutely no excuses to not make the second game against the Ravens in home opener. Michael says Wilson throwing against actual good corners in practice now is sure to help. Yeah, it is 100%. The better competition you play in practice is going to help you. Now he's playing last year. No offense. Hall and Eccles versus Sauce and Reed. Like, that's a massive leap in the right direction. And I think we talked about it a little bit last week, but I think this corner group will have its ups and downs early, obviously. Even Reed being a little bit younger, 25 years old, and obviously Sauce, high pick. He's going to get hunted a little bit. They're going to have the roller coaster ride, but I think they're at least going to be a plus average cornerback group, which compared to last year, Kyle, and I think they outperformed this probably, but we went into the year saying we have a bottom 3 cornerback duo in the NFL. And now those guys are now, 4 or 5 on the depth chart, 3, 4, 5 instead of 1 or 2. Like, this corner group went from bottom 3 to, let's say everybody hits their relative ceiling. I'm not going to say their ceiling is the moon, but like relative ceiling, you're looking at a group that should be top 12, top 12. Let's be honest. I think if Reed continues to play the way he is, and if Sauce lives up to being a number 4 pick in the draft, you have Bryce Hall as 4, you have Mike Carter as 3, you have Guidry, you have Eccles. Like, who's to say we shouldn't be a top 12 cornerback duo? Like, I was trying to hold back myself on that comment, but why? Like, if they legitimately reach their ceiling.
Absolutely. And, they're so young too, and cornerback's a young man's position. So it's absolutely possible. I've been talking up Sauce as a Pro Bowl talent in year 1. So I could definitely see that. And I think this is a really good point by Michael in general, because this is something I tried to say for a while. Like the reality is that Zach was not throwing against the types of cornerbacks that Fields was throwing against and Lawrence was thrown against on a weekly basis in college football. And I know they played some tough games, and I know they played against USC on their schedule and things like that. But, they also had games against where they're playing kind of, teams like some team in like Texas that's like Texas Southern or something like that.
UNLV and stuff like that.
UNLV. And like the reality is those corners are not as good. So like one thing I tried to say for a while was like, Zach's, like his speed, his ability to like, kind of get comfortable with the speed of the NFL is going to be it's going to take a little bit longer, I think, than some of those other guys, because the competition that he was throwing against in college, it's just not that. So, the fact that he's throwing against tougher corners in practice, I think is a huge help. I didn't see Harold's comment that you had up, and we did get a super chat too.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually scroll down to that now. 613. Let me go down. Oh, hold on. Let me find it. It is a lot more difficult to find these things than you guys think sometimes, because the chat is all over the place. Okay. NY Bully again. Appreciate it. From $10 to $20, I think. The narrative is how it's all on Zach Wilson to win this season, but I disagree due to him only being a second-year quarterback. It's the majority on Salah this season. He's responsible for getting his players to believe the system and performing. And Kyle, I didn't mention this before because I went on to a different direction like I typically do. But I think a lot of people, in terms of like having the Jets make that leap and Zach Wilson make that leap and him be that second-year quarterback, is why it's relative to the roster, right? Like if you look at all the quarterback situations, let's be honest, like Texans, new coach, not the best talent on offense or defense. The Jaguars are paying, again, excuse my French, but fucking Zay Jones $10 million a year and Christian Kirk $20 million ish a year. Have the Bears added anybody? Like what have they done? Like they've done literally.
They lost Allen Robinson.
They're going to be terrible. He's going to get the shit beat out of him. So I think this in part comes to people like just naturally being more on Zach Wilson's side. And that kind of aids into what Bully, and that kind of ties into what Bully is saying here, is Zach Wilson doesn't have to do it all this year. Like we knew that in Sam Darnold's rookie year in 18, even in 19 and 20, he didn't have the best talent. If he is just, let's just say, and Kyle, I don't know how you quantify this. I don't really like asking this question because it's there's so many things that can happen. But like, again, everything is kind of relatively normal. Like we're going to have some injuries, but not be the most brutal team in the NFL in terms of injuries. We're right in the middle of the pack. If Zach Wilson performs like an average quarterback, if he performs like the 15th, 16th, 17th best quarterback in the league this year, which is not too much to ask for. Again, however you quantify that, not stats, that's film. That's Kyle Smith watching on Sundays and watching the film afterwards. If he finishes in about that range for you, what are the expectations of the Jets offense? Like where should this team be? Because he doesn't, in my opinion, he doesn't have to carry the team.
Yeah, I mean, like we said the previous couple weeks, you want to talk about one of the most balanced offensive units in the whole league. When you look at pretty solid offensive line, solid group of receivers, right? Solid group of running backs, solid group of tight ends. The Jets are up there with, pretty much any team that has like a really solid unit. So like if Zach Wilson finishes like average, I mean, you're talking about like borderline top 10 offense. And I would say that the Jets have a decent shot to make the playoffs. I know the AFC is tough this year, but it is 7 teams that make it. So, if he finishes around average, I mean, I think that Jets fans can be pretty damn happy, because when's the last time the Jets had an average quarterback? I mean, even in Ryan Fitzpatrick's year where the Jets were, almost first, let's forget.
He wasn't average.
He was not average. Not
Marshall.
close.
That was Marshall and Decker,
I know. And Mark Sanchez, nowhere close to average. Nowhere close.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was always handicapping the team. So, I mean, the Jets having and if he finishes average this year, there's still so much room for growth. I mean, you're talking about a kid who went to BYU. So again, a little bit of a learning curve, and didn't have a ton to work with in his rookie year, had his struggles and stuff. So, that jump, I mean, and again, Josh Allen, we want to talk about another guy who went to small school, and not comparing skill sets and anything like that. But Josh Allen, the year 2 to year 3 jump was astronomical.
You know what? So Kyle, we're gonna do it now. So I actually, and the thing with Zach, and I agree with you. I expect him to be about average this year. Like that's the floor I want for him, is to be. And again, not comparing players directly, because that's stupid, and you know how much I hate that. But just in terms of their consistency and where they finish in that group of quarterbacks. If he's in that like Kirk Cousins range, or even a little bit worse than Kirk Cousins, like I think Kirk Cousins, again, we have to go through all the quarterbacks, but maybe 13th, 14th, 15th best quarterback in the league, maybe a little bit higher if he actually went through it. But if he's that or a little bit below that, I think the Jets are like, they should win 8 games. They should win 9 games. They could even I think 10 is the absolute ceiling for this team because the schedule is so damn hard. But 8 or 9 wins if he plays average, which Kyle, I didn't plan on doing this, but since we didn't talk about the record prediction, or I talked about the record last week, I went through it. I think I went like 9-8, but reality, I think they're going to go 8-9. To finish the show later, we're going to do lightning Kyle Smith record prediction. We're going to go through the games. You're going to give me win or loss. Lightning. You have like 10 seconds to talk about it, give a sentence, and we're going to go. And in terms, and a lot of people have kind of made the comparison to Zach Wilson should take that Josh Allen leap, right? And again, people kind of generalize when they talk about that, but we have to look at what Josh Allen was year 2, because was Josh Allen in year 2, or was he Josh Allen in year 3 where he started to make that run for the MVP? Because year 2, he was just okay. Like, he wasn't anything special, right? Or am I misremembering? So in terms of like looking at
no, he was again, year 2 Josh Allen, again, you're still seeing the, slow processing ability. He had a lot of good plays with his legs. I mean, he had like 10 plus something rushing touchdowns in year 2, but you weren't really scared that this guy was going to, on any given week, kill you with his arm. And now you play against Josh Allen and you're worried that he can beat you in any way possible. Right. So it was year 3 Josh Allen. I mean, year 3 Josh Allen, you're talking about like him putting up like 50 something total touchdowns. I mean, he was a completely different animal. I think it's you who's freezing up.
Yeah, Kyle. If it's freezing, it's me. It's just I'm having a bad internet day. But in terms of the Jets offense, and I want you to stop me again. Relative to expectations on the offense, tell me when we should have a group that's below average. Because last year, again, we had tight ends. I think at the end of the day, running backs was below average. I think obviously receivers we were okay with. Offensive line was below average. But for the Jets, I can say I don't have to go through the list to make a point. But like on offense, do they have a position right now that's below average? I think all of them, assuming health, should be plus average at this point, which when have we said that about tight end? When's the last time we've said that? Since, again, Dawson Keller was one guy. Even the offensive line hasn't been good since 2011. The receivers haven't been – well, they were good. I'll give them credit. They haven't been good in the recent past, but last year they were a little bit – they had some depth. But like running back, this is the best running back duo since when?
Well, we said it. We said since the 2009 season was what we said.
Oh yeah, we did this. And like receivers, maybe 2015. Before that, 2010. Like they have collectively and individually the best position groups that they've had in the last decade or two. D-end, like defensive line, corners, like they are stacked up. Like in terms of the Bills roster, like let's look at the Bills roster for what he was working with. And this is starters, but Josh Allen's year 2 because a lot of people compare them, but you have to compare them and know and be able to talk about their players too, because Zach Wilson should make a little bit of a leap even more than Josh Allen did, because running back, Devin Singletary as a rookie. Receivers, Cole Beasley, John Brown, Isaiah McKenzie. So we're looking at Devin Singletary and maybe I think it was Frank Gore in his year 2. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then Cole Beasley, John Brown, and Isaiah McKenzie to Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, and Elijah Moore. His tight end was Dawson Knox, who was a rookie. We have Conklin, Uzama, and Ruckert. And his offensive line was Deion Dawkins, Quentin Spain, Mitch Morse, John Feliciano, and Cody Ford. To Mekhi Becton, Fant, Connor McGovern, ABT, and a Pro Bowler, and Laken Tomlinson. Like, is there any group that's even remotely comparable in terms of their offense?
No. And one of the big reasons why Josh Allen took such a big leap in year 3 was he got Stephon Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
yeah,
no, I mean, I would take any one of those position groups. I would take the Jets in year 2 versus what Josh Allen was working with in year 2.
Even the defense, obviously the Bills are built around their defense. I think you're taking the Jets defensive line, like their defensive line was Trent Murphy, Jordan Phillips, Star Lotulelei, and Jerry Hughes. Me personally, I'm easily taking the Jets defensive line, but now linebackers, you're talking about Matt Milano, Tremaine Edmonds. I'm probably taking their linebackers, and then their secondary. We can go tit for tat. Like obviously Trey White, they're gonna have that advantage over us. Sauce Gardner, we'll see what he is. Levi Wallace though. Jets definitely take the cornerback 2 position there. And then safety, they blow us out of the water in terms of Poyer and Micah Hyde. I think both of those players are better than anything the Jets have on the roster. I know a lot of people are really high on Whitehead. Listen, Whitehead's good. There's a reason he got the contract. Like, people talk about him like, oh, he should have gotten a $15 million contract. Maybe not 15. I'm being a little bit exaggerating, but like $12 million, $13 million. Like, he should have been paid so much. I think $7.5, $8 million is where he's about deserved. Again, good in zone. I don't think he's great in man coverage. He will miss tackles because he takes such aggressive angles. Like, there is things that he will screw up on. But in general, the teams comparatively, defense, okay, they stack up obviously in different ways. Offense, Zach Wilson blows Josh Allen's team out of the water. So while saying that Josh Allen had that bigger year two, or had a big year two, not as big as year three, we should still expect that, if not more, from Zach Wilson, because he is stacked up a little bit more. But go ahead, sorry.
But let's not also forget coaching. I mean, Sean McDaniel. Why am I forgetting?
McDermott.
Why am I forgetting his name? Sean McDermott. Excuse me.
McDermott, yeah.
He's one of the best coaches in the league, and Brian Daboll was a tremendous offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
and probably should have gotten a head coaching job a little bit sooner than he did. So you could very well argue that coaching, you definitely give the nod to the Bills. I mean, they are extremely well coached.
Yeah,
right? You want to talk about?
Sorry, yeah, and that's what I said last week. I apologize. In terms of the coaching before you went past it. And obviously they have talent. Like, they have the Hydes and the Poyers and the Tre'Davious Whites, but I think. And maybe you disagree, maybe you'd agree, but part of what makes them so good is like how long they've been together and how well coached they are. Like, they everything. There's no coverage bust. They're so in tune with each other. They're so fluid as a defense, passing things off. Like, their defense is more about like their structure and how in sync they are, more than individual talents. And in my opinion, and obviously they have the individual talents with Edmonds and Trey White and Poyer, but they are like a machine together. So coaching is a massive part for them. So I definitely was just trying to aid your point there.
Yeah. I mean, like, that touchdown that Zach Wilson had in the final week of the season against them, it's like you almost like never really see touchdowns like that against them. Granted, in that Chiefs game, they did have, especially towards the end of the game, some coverage busts and stuff, and Tyreek Hill catching a dig and then taking it to the house. But that's quite rare from that defense. You don't typically see that.
Yeah. Buffalo Jets fan, cheers. Cheers, everybody.
Let's see.
Oh.
Hey,
I think that one was you. Sorry, I think that one was you, Kyle. You started sounding like a robot and broke up, so I thought it was my turn to slip in there. So I apologize. What's up, Buffalo Jets fan? Make sure you go check out his channel. Definitely good up and coming channel. There's a lot of good interviews. I was on there 2 weeks ago, so I'm sure you could just type in Buffalo Jets fan and Blewett or JetX or whatever. It'll come up. That was definitely a good interview. Looking forward to doing collabing in the future again. What offense would you take right now? The Jets O. Good question, Frank the Tank. Jets O or Ravens O? Kyle, I don't know if you want to pull up the rosters, but off the top of your head, obviously I'm going to assume Frank the Tank is going to minus the quarterback position. So are you going to take what Lamar Jackson's working with on offense, or are you going to take what Zach Wilson's working with on offense right now?
I'm trying to think. So they traded away Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, so the receivers
are. I'm trying to think who.
Oh, let me see.
All right, I'm gonna pull up their depth chart right now. So we didn't see too much from Bateman year one. He was hurt quite a bit. Devin Duvernay at receiver. Let's see. Ronnie Stanley's a stud left tackle. Tyree Phillips, Linderbaum at center. Kevin Zeitler, he's a solid right guard. Morgan Moses. All right, so we know a lot about him. J.K. Dobbins, he's had some injuries and stuff, torn ACL. Lamar Jackson. Let's see. Mark Andrews is a stud tight end. This is definitely a good question. I'll say this. I think that I feel like the Jets have better depth overall than the Ravens. Whereas you could argue that, for example, Ronnie Stanley, the Jets don't have someone who's at that not the Jets don't have at this point yet. I mean, could Elijah Moore develop into a stud top 10 receiver? Yeah, maybe. But Mark Andrews is a borderline. He's a top 5 tight end. No question about it right now. Jackson, there's so much questions about how good is he really? Is he worth this next contract? How long in the NFL, forever? But
sorry,
he's still like a Pro Bowl top. Early fuck.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you heard of what I said.
Mm-hmm. No.
But what I was saying is,
you're talking about Mark Andrews. I heard that part.
I was saying Mark Andrews, like top 5 tight end. Ronnie Stanley, he's like a top 5-ish left tackle, and like so they have more star power, but I feel like the Jets have more depth offensively, if that makes sense.
Okay. So you kind of played both sides there. So they have the more star talent, but right now you're taking the Ravens though or the Jets though?
I'm going to take the Jets though. And
right now they have.
Yeah,
let's go through.
I'm going to take the Jets.
Let's go too deep. So let's just go through each position. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, Mike Davis versus Brees Hall, Tevin Coleman, and Michael Carter. Who are you taking out of those guys?
Definitely going to take the Jets. Yeah, definitely, no question. I think this is Joe freezing again. Yeah, so the reason why I'm going to take the Jets, guys, really apologize for the internet connections tonight. We've done I don't know how many hours worth of streaming, and it's never ever been this bad.
No, not even close. Not even close. So we're taking Jets at running back. We're taking again Bateman, Duvernay, Prochet, Tylan Wallace over. That's not even close to the Jets. So you're taking the Jets at running back, receiver. Now, tight end, I think you have to take the Ravens because, listen, Mark Andrews, like you said, top 5, Nick Boyle behind him, Charlie Kolar, and Isaiah Likely. I know we like what we have, but we do not have Mark Andrews. So right now it's 2-1 Jets. Tight end, you're going to give them the advantage. But again, I could argue that, okay, well, having 2 guys, I think you're going to say that both Conklin and Uzama are probably better than Boyle, but I'm still going to give it to the Ravens there at tight end. Offensive line. So to me, they have Stanley and Zeitler that stand out. But I think that even while, okay, you're going to take Stanley over Becton or Fant, and you're going to take Zeitler, well, I think you could stack up Laken Tomlinson to him. So they really have the one like stud guy at left tackle over Becton or Fant. But I think, like you said, like both the depth and the well-roundedness of the offensive line, like you're going to take, let's even give them Stanley over Becton and Zeitler over Tomlinson, which would be a slight nod. Then you're going to take ABT over Tyree Phillips. You're going to take, at least me this year, Kyle, maybe I'm wrong. I'm taking McGovern over Linderbaum easily at first, easily. And to be completely honest, I like the Ravens and I like their draft. I don't think them taking Linderbaum, unless they plan on changing their offensive structure a little bit, is the best fit. I'm just going to be completely honest with that. And then right tackle, I'm taking either Becton or Fant over Moses. So I'm taking the Jets offense over the Ravens offense, obviously minus quarterback, but it's a relatively good discussion though, for sure.
Yeah, and also if you're betting on someone's future, like their ceiling, I'm going to take Zach Wilson's ceiling over Lamar Jackson's as a long-term starting consistent quarterback in the league. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know that he'll ever become as good as Lamar Jackson, but like if I'm saying like who's the guy who I can see being a 10, 15 year like really, really good passing quarterback in the league. Like I just don't know how long Lamar Jackson's going to last. And I think he was dealing with an ankle injury. Yeah, and people are saying we're a homer right now. And I've been on record too on this stream saying I think the Ravens absolutely should pay Lamar Jackson. I just, really question like the longevity there. I think last year was the first time you really started to see, what running that much as a quarterback can do. And he was on the shelf for a good portion of the year.
So I don't think the homer thing at least originates from the offense, taking the Jets offense over the Ravens. I think that might come from you taking Lamar or Zach Wilson over Lamar Jackson. But I kind of see what you're saying in terms of how long is he going to play. And again, to me, and there are certain quarterbacks who I like more than others and some I don't. I think Lamar Jackson, I think he's good. Do I think he's top 5 good? I don't. Do I think he's more in that 7 to 12 range than top 5? 100%. He needs to get more consistent as a passer. I think that's pretty evident on film that he could definitely struggle outside the numbers, which you have to be able to do because people are going to crowd the middle of the field if you can't. You can't just rely on your legs the whole time. So I like Lamar Jackson. I just think like the MVP year was to me, like I don't remember exactly who was on the top of the board for MVP, but that's kind of a bullshit award to be completely honest. Just my opinion, but let's keep moving on. But in terms of them, like who long-term, I get what you're saying, but that's a hard discussion. That's a whole other thing. Let's see. Snowball, what's up? What's up, Square Peg?
a lot of people are laughing their ass off at me saying that.
So It's about. I think Zach Wilson could be a top 5 quarterback in terms of his ceiling. I really do.
Dude, guys,
Do I
just think about this for a moment. Lamar should not have went at 32, but there's a reason he did go at 32. There's a reason why all those teams passed up on him. I think even including the Ravens, because the Ravens took, who did they take? A tight end before they took him, right? They took a tight end before they took him. Okay. They traded back up to get to 32. So don't even act like the Ravens didn't have serious questions about Lamar's game transitioning to the NFL, right? Zach Wilson was a top QB on many teams' boards. You had several teams, including the 49ers, wanting to trade up to get him. Don't act like his ceiling is unquestionably higher as a passer than Lamar's was coming out of college. All right?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Like you said, I mean, like, watch Lamar's highlights. Most of those highlights are going to be running plays. I'm telling you right now, put on his highlight tape. And like you said, with throwing out routes and making throws outside the numbers, as a quarterback in the NFL, you need to be able to hit all the throws all the time. And do you always see that with Lamar Jackson? I mean, he's good at throwing routes down, seam routes, right? He's good at throwing posts and things like that. But if I need him to hit me, like a corner route, I need him to hit me in that opposite hash mark out route with timing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that Zach was really good at doing in college. I don't see that with Lamar.
Yeah. So like your argument is more longevity about both the system that he's running and how long that could be sustainable for. And we've seen teams in the playoffs at I think it's the Chargers, right? A couple of years ago, like take that away. If you put DBs in the field and they can tackle and they're really strong in their containment, you can shut down an offense because it's a heavy running offense because Lamar Jackson's not the most consistent passer. So I think in terms of their ceiling, Zach Wilson has now Lamar Jackson's going to have those more flashy plays that you're saying with the highlights and all that stuff. But in terms of a passer, he has a higher ceiling than Lamar Jackson. So I get what you're saying. Now, if I'm going to take one guy to win a game right now, it's Lamar Jackson. But
absolutely
long term, I could see your argument. So I don't think it's crazy to say that at all.
And I'll tell you right now, Lamar Jackson would have been paid right now. He would already have his new contract if there were not at least some questions about his future and how good he can be. Right? I'm just telling you.
So Kyle, you say you might do Green Bay, or you? So to me, I was going to do Seattle or Minnesota. Seattle came up, and it's January 1st. So I would like to see them kick the shit out of Jamal Adams, but January 1st is a tough ask. So I think I'm doing Minnesota December 12th. So I'm going to see Phil C there. I don't know if I'm going to see Kyle Smith there, though.
I mean, why would I want to go to Minnesota? Like, for what reason do I want to see that team? Other than, okay, you'll be there. It's cool. And, like, I know it's a new stadium, so that's cool. But out of all the teams, the Vikings?
Good state. I'm going to every single stadium in the NFL, so I have to do them all.
You also talked about maybe the Browns. I'd rather go see the Browns.
It depends. Like I don't know if I want to go week 1, week 2, like right away. Is Watson going to play? Is he not going to play? What are there to do in Cleveland? Like at least Minnesota. Apparently, there's some things to do around there. I don't know. Joe keeps freezing. Yes, I'm sorry. TJ Decker, you guys think Wilson will struggle against Ravens secondary? Long ways away, but I'm already nervous. Dude, it's not an easy matchup. Like their secondary is stacked. So you're looking at a defense that is really good in the secondary, and obviously we struggled through the air last year. Now we didn't towards the end of the year, but still. And we're looking at a team who the Jets' biggest weakness was containing the run game, outside runs, containing big plays. That's what the Ravens offense is. So I am nervous about that game, to be honest, but it's not going to be an easy out for him. No way, TJ Decker. Now struggle, that's kind of relative to how, if you think he can overcome that and the weapons can overcome that, but it's probably one of the hardest matchups on defense that the Jets are going to have all year. Michael N, Joe's frozen. Little Jet, Joe's frozen as fuck. I'm sorry. I know. I can go reset my router. I just don't know if it's going to. I haven't been freezing recently, I don't think, but I don't know if it's going to like kick me off or kick us off. Joe B, are you Wi-Fi or direct connected? I am Wi-Fi, but it's not that far away, and I'm running like 300 megabits per second and like 40 downloads, so it's solid. Joe, you should have named your dog Sauce. I went for Sauce. I went for Zeus. Zeus didn't happen. We landed on Grover. Grover is the dog's name, so I tried for Zeus. Then I was thinking about Sauce.
What made you choose Grover?
I don't know. We just
wasn't
we
the
like
president.
Grover. No, not Grover Cleveland.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like Sauce. I would have done 100%. But what if, like, again, I don't want to put this even out there, but like, what if Sauce isn't a good player and my dog is named Sauce and it just reminds me of a bad corner we picked years ago? Like, I wasn't going to do that.
Stop.
I love Sauce, but no way. No way. I think that we have a legitimate shot. This is from Michael. At upsetting the Ravens week 1. The Ravens don't have film on this particular Jets team. So many new players, including the return of Lawson. That, Michael. 2, any team can upset any team any week. And 3, it's week 1. Like, crazy shit happens all the time week 1. So yeah, we could definitely upset them. I don't think it's an impossibility that Jets can win that game. Kyle looks like an evil Ryan Rasulo. Do you even know who that is, Kyle? Because I don't know if I do. Is that a singer?
I think he's like a radio
guy.
I think he's on the radio, but I can't say that I've really listened to him.
Is that the blonde dude who does some Nets games? If that's the blonde dude who does some Nets games, I don't know. Maybe because Kyle kind of looks like him with like the facial structure, and he's more orange hair, so he looks like he's like, you know, the devil or something. I don't know.
Does he have
I
a
watched
beard?
it and
Does he even have a beard? The tackling tech. So I think Joe's frozen. So I'll finish reading it. I watched it, and Sauce is really good. That tackling tech could get him hurt. His tech is just so advanced. That play in the red zone versus the wide receiver grabbed him around the waist as well. I think he's referring to the one when they were playing Navy. I feel like he just got a little bit lazy on that play. And that can happen from time to time. When you're in blowouts, they were in so many blowouts in previous years. Sometimes, like, you know, because corner, like, if you make one little false step or something like that, you can get beat. So, you know, you have to be on your game all the time. And is it possible that when you're up by 40 points, you know, maybe you know, just you start looking at in the stands and you start feeling it, you start thinking about your after game celebrations, and, you know, you mess up on your technique a little bit. Yeah, I feel like there was kind of something along the lines of that there.
Yeah, I don't know if I meant.
Did you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, no, I got you. I remember at least mentioning that once or twice in my review, like him, like kind of being more passive. Or maybe I didn't, but I think I know what you're talking about. I forget exactly the play, but Pirlo, Joe, me and my buddies got free tickets to a Jets.
So it was like he had like, it was like experience on like the 1 yard line. Against me.
Yeah,
and it was like Saul started grabbing him while the ball's in the air, and it's like, to me, that was the worst play I've seen of him in all the plays that I watched. I'm trying to see. Didn't need to do that there.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what play that is. I'm trying to bring it up, but whatever. We'll keep moving on. I'll see it in a little bit.
Okay. Well, while you try to do that, I'll read the chat. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah,
I was going to read the chat while you try to do that.
I don't know if I'm freezing or you're freezing, whatever it is, but we're just tripping over each other a little bit. Again, we apologize for the Wi-Fi thing. I don't know what's going on because it's never been this bad, but we will figure it out for next stream because it is a pain in the dick to watch a show that is lagging. Pirlo is asking what games to go to. So it's always good to go to a game that they blow the team out or they win, obviously. So like there will be people who want to go to the Jags or the Bears or one of those games, but to get the energy of week 1, I don't think you could beat it. Now you could walk away from that game very, very depressed or very, very happy. I can guarantee you if they win that game, the feeling coming out of that stadium is like no other, from both in the stands and walking out. So I would say go there when everything is fresh. Every team is 0-0, like take that risk. And even in the parking lot, Kyle, you could feel that energy where if he goes, and again, I don't want to be down on the Jets, but let's say it's week 16 and, you know, the Jets are, I don't know, you know, 6-9 or 5 and, well, hopefully not 5, but 6-10, let's say, or something like that. It's not going to be as exciting. So I would say week 1. Week 1's the best game to go to always. I don't know if you would agree.
Unless they're playing a completely garbage team. Unless they're playing you know, like the worst team from the previous year who still hasn't done much to improve, then yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, like, if you could see into the future and I could say, okay, week 16 is going to be a game where it's going to be a must win to get into the playoffs and they're fighting for that, then okay, go to that game. But I can't guarantee that. So I would go to week 1. Thoughts on Zach at 220 compared to 208? Kyle, did you mention this on Twitter? Did you talk about it to anybody? I don't know if I think I mentioned it last week. So what are your thoughts?
Just to people in personal life, I've talked about that. I want to say that it's a good thing. And I do believe that it is. I mean, listen, there are not too many quarterbacks who are under 210 in the league, right? In the 220-ish range is kind of where you see most starting quarterbacks. And the reality is you never want your quarterback to get hurt. So if he's a little bit on the lighter side, he's a little bit more likely to get an injury. Also, him being a little bit bigger, he can probably withstand. I mean, because it's not just like, okay, you have to think about like if a guy gets a clean shot at you, there's a good chance you're going down. But a lot of times too, it's like, defensive linemen are getting in there, they're getting their arms and getting their hands on you. And sometimes having that little extra body weight can help you shed someone's arm tackle or something like that. So, think about how tough Big Ben was earlier in his career to bring him down in the pocket. Now, obviously, Zach Wilson will never be that, but adding a little bit more beef, and it seems like it's good weight. It seems like he's eating really good and stuff. I don't think people are gassing him up too much when they say that his legs, like he looked like he's whatever they're calling Quadzilla or whatever. Like, no, he does look like he's actually put on like decent amount of muscle mass and stuff. So I want to say it's a good thing. One of the things that, made Zach pretty good was his ability to extend plays. And, think about the long touchdown run that he had against the Jaguars. There is a little bit of a question that, okay, if he put on, 10 something pounds, is he going to be able to move as well? Right. And that's a fair question. If it's good weight, I want to say that I don't see it being too much of a problem. I have to believe that overall it's a good thing, because you don't want Zach, you don't want him to have to make those types of plays that he made against the Jaguars too often anyway. You want him staying in the pocket more often. So, having that extra weight is good for, a guy who's should be operating from the pocket a little bit more often.
Yeah. I'm putting a user in timeout real quick. I think he's trolling. I can't really see it 100%, but moderators get on that too. If a guy is trolling, I don't care if it's other people from other teams talking like being actually like talking football, but when people are just trolling, just ban them. I really don't care. But yeah. And then, so yeah, that Jaguars game, is he going to make that run with 12 more pounds on, which I think he said he's going to run, or he's going to be about like 217, 218. So does he make that play? Does he avoid guys as well as he did against the Panthers? Like, shifting and all that stuff that he did in the pocket and outside the pocket, like quickly, like that lateral burst. Could he do that? But again, like you said, like
when they were in like read option on the goal line a couple times, like against the Texans, for example.
It's healthy weight. So, and just naturally from 20 to 21 to 20, 23, 24, you're going to grow, you're going to get some muscle into that. So, for me, it's about him not getting hurt. Like, I don't care about him trucking dudes and being able to shrug guys off like Big Ben, all that. It's about, okay, he's going to absorb 3, 4, 5, 6 hits a game, or hopefully not a game, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits a year that are going to be huge hits. Like, can he stay healthy through that, year 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When you add that muscle, that beef to take those hits, it's important to me. So I like that he added some weight. I'm gonna get to the super chats. We are going to, and then one thing I want to mention too, Bleacher Report. Everybody's talking about Bleacher Report. Wilson to lead TD like Wilson to be the dark horse to lead the league in TD passes this year. Can we?
That'd be amazing.
People were tripping balls about this whole statement. Can I just say something like? Who the fuck cares? Who was writing there? Who wrote that report? Who
a lot of the guys that write for Bleacher Report, I mean, like, dude, you wouldn't even know their names. Like, who? Like, I've never seen this name before.
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect. I'm just saying, like, it seems like, and I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. It seems like there's a low bar to become a writer there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's
someone might say, who the hell's Blewett and who the hell's Kyle Smith? But I mean, like.
Yeah, no, but exactly. Like, who the hell are we? So
there is an aspect to Bleacher Report that's pretty hot takey.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So like I remember they used to put out like a lot of articles where they would rank people and like they would come up with these scores like this guy is a 79.5 out of 100, and it's like, okay, well, what did you use to come up with this grading scale? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really read like a Bleacher Report article in quite a long time.
I literally don't know the last time I read Bleacher Report. So can we not trip about them saying they're going to lead in Zach Wilson's in the league, which obviously is great, but who was writing the article? Who wrote it? Because I've seen some Fugazi type work from Bleacher Report, but it is what it is. I'm going to get through the next super chats, Kyle, and I'm going to grab the puppy. You guys are going to see the puppy. I'm going to only bring him on for like 30 seconds because he will start tripping out a little bit. He's actually really good, but he's not going to want to sit. So I'm going to get through the super chats. We're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. And then we're going to get through the rest of the chats because I'm already like an hour behind, which is crazy because that's always happens. Hit me up. I'll be at the Vikings game. You hit me up, Iowa, because I will forget, because people are all the time in here saying that they're going to be at these games and Twitter DM them and all this stuff. If you DM me, if you email me, whatever, I will 100% tell you the spot, and it's up to you to determine if you're going to
just do it earlier rather than later. Last year, one of the regular listeners hit Joe up at a tailgate, but it was like around like 11:30. Like,
yeah, we were like going in
30 minutes before we were going to start to walk towards the stadium.
Yeah, but Iowa Jets fan, I appreciate it nonetheless. So tailgating, whatever, we can take over bars the nights before too. Like I will be going out at some of these places, so we are going to do that. Joe, how dare you think something negative about Sauce? I'm sorry, I just saw that one scrolling through the super chats. We got a super chat from Chris Stokilo, $5 for nothing. We appreciate that. Picture of a dog. Look at that. Good boy.
Thanks, Chris.
Good boy. Let's see. Yeah, appreciate that for sure. Stream tripping. I know we got another super chat. I think a big one that I saw down here. I think Mike Big Dick again.
It's Mike.
Mike is always big dicking. Joe, Mike Galiza, thank you guys. Always look forward to your show because of work. I get here late and start from the beginning. Appreciate that, Mike. So you're probably just at the point like I'm about at 6:19 in the chat. He's probably that far where he's like listening to back in at that time. So appreciate it, Mike. $40.
Thanks, Mike. Very generous.
More generous than you need to be, but I'm never going to say no. So Kyle appreciates it. I appreciate it. Again, it helps us out. It'll start a new computer fund because I need to get that, and apparently I need to get a new Wi-Fi fund because the connection has been absolute dog
Honestly,
shit.
I mean, like, listen, I know you have like a really high speed internet in general, but you should really plug it in.
Yeah. Well, the problem is I would have to do it in the living room, which I guess I could do, but
Just get a long cable.
I'm going to run that cable. You've been to my house all the way from where I do the shows all the way to the living room.
Only while you're streaming. You don't got to do it in general. Just while you're streaming for a couple hours.
Guess what? I'm going to walk out there and the dog's going to be chewing on that. But okay, Kyle, you're going to take over for a second.
Okay.
I'm going to go grab the puppy.
Okay. So I'm just going to read from kind of the most recent stuff. Post Mike's super chat. Let's see. Jeff Van Gundy. Okay. Jeff Van Gundy was saying all these soft tissue injuries in sports are due to not enough sport-specific practice. That is contact. That's interesting. I don't know if I'm smart enough to comment on that. I don't know that would be the case. I mean, like, I don't see how having more contact is going to stop someone from pulling their hamstring. You could pull your hamstring playing basketball. I mean, like, and it's not like you're colliding into somebody, when you're playing. I mean, like, I guess not the way you are in football. So I don't know if I agree with that, but I'm no medical doctor. Let's see. Some people talking about Bleacher Report. I don't like PFF. Eagle saying get a long cable. Yeah, I tried telling him, Eagle. I've tried telling he can be a stubborn human being. Igor is saying puppy time. Just run some cable through your ceiling. What's the big deal? Very good point, Michael. I'll make sure to bring that up to him. Let's see. Some people were weirdo trolls. Phil C. Kyle, speaking of thick, you see how huge Herbert is now? Yeah, I did see him. He did look a little bit thick. All right. And he's tall too. So
got the puppy. He's actually pretty relaxed.
He's cute.
Right now, so.
He's cute.
Oh yeah, he got some big paws. I think he's gonna be pretty big. But let's stream together. I'm gonna see how long he lasts for. He's actually pretty relaxed when he's
He just woke up from a nap, right? He's chilling right now.
He woke up from a nap. He just went pee outside. So we're teaching him that. He's been much better. So let's see.
Yeah. So Eagle was saying get a long cable. He was agreeing with me, and then somebody else was saying that you need to just get a. What's the problem with getting a cable and then running it across your ceiling? Puppy ain't gonna chew it on the ceiling.
The problem is I have to have the effort and the want to do that. So,
Joe, you're a perfectionist in the way that you would analyze film, right? And you do streams every week, not every other week like me. I don't think it's asking too much to run some cable if it's going to stabilize the internet. And I'll make sure that I do things on my end too to make sure that's not a problem.
Yeah.
But stop giving excuses, Joe. You sound like Bless Austin right now or something.
He was not giving excuses. He was telling us why he was going to be the best corner in the league in a couple of years. But
who's a Jets player that gives a lot of excuses?
Pat
past
I don't
or
really
present.
know. You know who used to? Leonard Williams was always kind of like, oh, I'm going to do this year. You know, last year wasn't a big year for me. Leonard Williams was a lot like excuse guy. But Kyle, talk about Elijah Moore is so underrated. Bro is going to be such a stud this year. So I want you to hit that. I'm going to drop the puppy back off to his mother. And then talk. By the way, I don't know if you watched the Elijah Moore review too. That I did
definitely.
last year, or a couple of months ago. So talk about that a little bit. I'm going to give him back.
Yeah, no, we did talk about that after you released it, but and I think this is coming from the great Michael Nania, I believe. I don't think he's underrated amongst Jets fans across the league. Probably a little bit that he's probably a little bit underrated, and there's probably a couple things that go along with that. I mean, listen, he went in the second round, so tons of teams passed on him. He was in a good wide receiver draft, so people are naturally going to give more love to guys like Waddle and Devonta Smith and things like that. The Jets didn't have a lot of primetime games last year, even though he did shine in primetime. Think about the Indianapolis game, a couple touchdowns there. And he did miss 5-ish games last year. So I think these are probably all kind of reasons why people across the league might be underrating him. But I think the Jets fans are pretty high on him, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep moving on. Somebody said I missed a super chat question, which, by the way, I see some of the puppy love in the chat. I'm sure he appreciates it. I'll let him know. But yeah, I'm really high on Elijah Moore. Doing that review of him literally in January, you're gonna see it and you're gonna be like, what the hell? You're talking about the Jets like they're in 6 months in the past, which is true. So let's see. Little Jet, he shut down Jameson Williams in that big game. He plays the ball really well in the air, at least. He needs to work on certain things, but he is a playmaker for sure with his athleticism and length. If guys try to fit it in certain windows, even if he's a yard or two behind, he's going to be able to pick some balls off. So,
by the way, just look at the thumbnail of the thumbnail picture for this episode. Look how long Sauce's arms look in that picture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a freak, man.
Mm-hmm. There's zero chance you've changed your mind on Ashton Davis. His fundamentals are bad. So yeah, I'm going to get to that topic in terms of just hitting up Ashton Davis and some of our expectations for him, which it's been a little bit of the talk on Twitter, not so much talk, but I've seen a little bit of rumblings on Twitter and in terms of Ashton Davis and people talking about, oh, well, maybe he could be a starter. Kyle, at this point right now, you're betting your life on it, which obviously we don't want you to do. Does Ashton Davis even make the Jets?
I think you're going to ask me if I'm betting my life, does Ashton Davis even make the roster for the Jets? And I will say yes. He's a Joe Douglas pick, early third round pick. He's dealt with some injuries, which have slowed him down a little bit. I don't think they're going to give up on him that easily. And yeah, did they bring in a safety? Yes, they did. But they also let one walk in Marcus May. Did they re-sign Joyner? Is Joyner even a lock? What if Joyner gets hurt again in camp? I'm going to say that I do believe Ashton Davis will make the roster. Now, again, it's a little bit hard to kind of do right off the top of the head. You want to, kind of see how things are going in training camp, and then we start talking about which players are flashing and things like that, start to see how they play in the preseason games. I feel a little bit more confident with it. I do believe he'll probably make the roster.
To be honest, he might not though, because if you look at, obviously you're going to have the starters of Joyner and Whitehead. And I think past that, like if you're just talking about play, like Will Parks didn't press last year. I think he's kind of seems like he's like a real team guy. And somebody who they're like promoting a little bit more than they should if he was going to get cut. And then past that, you have Elijah Riley, who just changed his number to 33, which I would like for nothing more than him to just dominate now and rep the 33 better than Jamal Adams, because that'd be great.
What was he? I thought he was always 33.
No, I think he changed it. I think he changed it to 33. I don't think he was 33 last year. I could be wrong, but I thought I saw that he changed it to 33.
I think he was, but anyway.
Puppy on a YouTube video has never dissuaded somebody from watching it. Just saying, no, I don't want to. He's actually really, really good for being how young he is, but I don't want to bore him and just sit here and talk. What's up, Nania MVP? Like writing this past year, dude. I don't think it's Nani who is Michael N.
Nania, I assume I that's my bet. I thought it was.
No, it's not. It's not Nania. He'll come on a stream soon. I actually got to get him and Sabo on soon. Let's keep moving on. New England Patriots listened to a couple of their YouTubers and they are lost on their draft strategy and coaching setup, more like the old Jets. Yeah, the Pats are looking like they're just completely nosediving right now, which is fantastic.
All right, let me just say this stuff. Back when I used to do an AFC East podcast, I used to listen to a good deal of Patriots podcasts to kind of get a feel for how their fans are feeling about the team. That is not something unusual. Patriots fans are always confused about what they do in the offseason. They always hate their off seasons. Always. right? Despite the fact that they win so many games year in, year out, they always hate their off seasons and they always question Bill Belichick off season. And my response to that is, I think that sometimes like Cole Strange in the first round, I don't get that at all. I really don't. And I'm not going to say like I watched a lot of him, but still it doesn't make too much sense to me. But I think that people who are saying he's not a good GM, I mean, listen, he's picking the players. Like it goes back to that old Parcells quote, like let the cook choose the groceries, right? And Bill Belichick is picking the players that he's ultimately going to play. Do some of them not work out? Sure, they don't. But I mean, the results kind of don't lie. So anyway.
Appreciate this comment, Rob D. Definitely. Little Jet says he would meet up. Appreciate that. Nikki Free, tell me why you think so. In quotes, that's why you guys are the number one out of all the Jets guys on YouTube. On the tube. I appreciate that a lot, Nikki. We try to explain the who, what, when, where, why, where a lot of people just say stuff and they don't really back it up with film or stats or proof or nothing, which and that's I'm not shitting on anybody on Jets YouTube because obviously I've collabed with a lot of them and I like a lot of them. But we are definitely more film centric than anything. So if you enjoy it from a film perspective, okay, great. That's what we're here for. I know some people don't enjoy that. They like other stuff, which is fine. Everybody has their taste. So
thank you. Really nice comment.
Yeah, for sure. Will Wink or Bet be at the home opener with you guys? I'm sure that if he goes to a game, he's going to stop by one of our tailgates. That is for sure. So maybe
ask
maybe
Robbie.
Yeah. What's up, Verge? What's up, Harold? I was in Carolina last year, but didn't get a chance to meet up. God willing, this year will be different. Not God willing, make it happen, Harold. Take control of your own destiny. You know, you're coming to the tailgate.
Yeah, but all right. So no, I respect that from Harold saying God willing. When a lot of people say God willing, they mean like, listen, I can plan as much as I want, but sometimes some things are out of my control.
Harold, could be, walking down the stairs and break his leg and not be able to make it, which to me it's still not an excuse. So can't fully blame Lawrence for last year. Look at the disaster head coach. Yeah. Disaster head coach, disaster roster. Again, I am running through these quickly because I'm very far behind. Do you guys like Pinnock as our starting free safety? I know we had Nikki Free, go back to the last live stream and look for the segment where I start pulling up film. I show you a couple of plays, or if you're a subscriber, which hopefully you are, you go back to the Jets Jaguars stream. The 2 or 3 plays that are really hyped up, they were great plays, were actually pretty bad. So go watch the review. I don't think if Kyle, we can kind of get this done now. If Pinnock makes the switch to safety, he will be on the Jets roster, but on the practice squad.
Yeah. No, he should not be even a backup safety. Mm-mm. The thing about Pinnock is if you watch Pinnock's college film, he was at his best when he was a press corner in guys' faces. And like his press technique did need some kind of work, but like, sometimes you would see, him jam with one hand and then switch in phase using the other hand. Like sometimes it was really clean. He doesn't have good deep speed or anything like that. So sometimes he would get lost in the middle of a route. Ball skills aren't the best, but
yeah.
So the only reason he played safety is just out of pure necessity last year. His skill set is not suited for safety.
No, not at all. Nikki Freeze, and maybe you'll think of this better. I don't know. Sims also pointed out that Wilson has a flaw in his mechanics where his right leg goes beyond his frame, creating a downward plane when he throws the ball. And maybe maybe he pulled up examples. To me, his problem with his right leg is that it doesn't follow through and it tends to rotate interiorly and it locks out his front leg because his rotation kind of goes back and not through. And then his right leg gets extended and it locks his hip from coming through. I can explain it better with actually obviously looking at it, but you've seen that a lot, like the breakdowns, Kyle, where like he kind of locks out that front leg and instead of again coming over with that right foot, he kicks back. So a lot of it's again not rotating over the hips and allowing himself to come fully through with the ball when he's stepping through, and it's a lot more arm because his base is kind of sketchy at times. So I don't know what he's talking about in terms of going beyond his frame because I think he rotates too far into his frame. So maybe you can diagnose that better. I don't know what Sims is talking about.
If I'm understanding Sims correctly, I think he's just kind of saying that his feet are not too far apart when he releases the ball. But I agree with what you're saying now.
Yeah, so I don't know. Darnold has talent, but Zach has better talent than Sam Darnold though too. So Sam Darnold had more more in terms of like breaking tackles and things like that. But in terms of talent, arm talent, it's Zach all the way. Darnold is unintelligent. I'm sure of that.
Dude,
Oh, we got shit.
all I got to say about this is people were saying, and Madden ratings are stupid or whatever, but when they put the Madden ratings out as a rookie, Zach Wilson had like one of the strongest throw powers in the league. And there's a reason why people were saying Mormon, Mahomes, and things like that. Like Zach has a special arm talent. I'm not saying it's Mahomes or Josh Allen. I don't think that it's quite to that level, or Herbert for that matter, but he's at least playing in their ballpark. Nobody was ever saying that about Sam Darnold. Nobody. Even though lots of people were pegging him to be the number 1 overall pick. No one was acting like he had that kind of level arm talent.
Yeah, and this is not obviously I'm not legitimately actually friends with Ryan, so I'm not calling him out on this. And I don't know if he was a Sam Darnold guy, but Kyle, we actually got some shit for that. Like after the first couple of weeks of his third year, like we were out. Like we were very, very early in being out on Sam Darnold, and people hated it. And you were earlier than I was. So you're going to get the honesty here. Same thing, Bless Austin. How many people give a shit for Bless Austin saying how bad he was? And be like, dude, Bless Austin's so good. Or like Twitter, like, look at this play. And then it just happens. So let's go. Let's see. Keep moving on. Again, I'm very, very far behind, so I'm going to apologize. I'm going to skip some stuff, but that's also why you throw super chats, because it guarantees I will get to your question.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of it. Obviously, I appreciate, there's 220 people in here before. Now there's like 170. I cannot get to every single chat because there's 5-10 chats in a minute. So I just can't do that. Igor agrees. This is what we said before. I don't know if he agrees with this is before we said it, but if Zach is average, his offense should be good. If Zach is average, his offense should be floating near top 10 levels, obviously assuming health, which you can't always do. Average Wilson equals playoffs. Jets are running the ball on everybody. Yeah, that should be their primary thing.
And the thing is, if Zach Wilson's average, that means it's going to be really fun, because that like he's still going to make those second-year quarterback struggles, mistakes. He's going to miss the clearly open guy on while he's going through his progressions, but he's got that talent level where he's going to have a lot of special plays if he's average. So it's going to be, that means fun.
This is before Zach Wilson ain't Josh Allen.
Agreed.
We never compared. I don't know if he's talking to somebody in the chat, but we never compared him to Josh Allen. We're just talking about obviously relative quarterback growth that we've seen through our own eyes through the division. As people make that shot, we need to see that Josh Allen leap. Again, every leap is not linear. But I think you're talking about Zach being that top 5, top 10 quarterback like Josh Allen is. But again, he wasn't that in year 2, so that's why we're comparing.
In terms of putting heat on the ball, Josh Allen has the strongest arm in the league, and Josh Allen is the second best running quarterback in the league, better than Kyler Murray. No doubt about it in my mind.
100%. Why can't Wilson take the Justin Herbert leap? Literally, why? There's no reason that he can't take that leap. He can. Are you banking on that? I won't. Could he? 100%. Why can't he, Kyle?
He could. Yeah. I mean, I think that Herbert was kind of a raw prospect coming out. I'm still really amazed that and to me, I almost question why the Chargers fired Anthony Lynn, because I feel like he did such a good job with Herbert in year 1. Right? Like he still had a really bad offensive line. I know he had good receivers.
I don't know the exact examples of it again, which I want to preface it by saying that, but I know he blew a lot of late game leads in situation, Anthony Lynn.
Yeah. People don't like that.
Okay. Let's see. Keep moving on. Isn't the Jets schedule considered average strength of schedule? So the only thing I'll say to that, Joe, is, and listen, if they come out and dominate the first couple of weeks, great, because that's a really hard stretch of their schedule. But Kyle, to me, and I'm not trying to be passive, I'd rather take the bad team first type deal, but in my opinion, and maybe in your opinion, I'd rather have the harder games at the end of the year when the Jets are more built up as a team. Zach Wilson gets into the flow of things, and new players in the offense, the young team get into the flow of things, instead of having them right off the bat. I'd rather start easy, go hard, end hard, than start hard and easy. I don't know if you agree with that or not. So that's kind of,
I do agree with that, because they're a young team. I mean, listen, a lot of things are coming together for this team. It's not like Brady in his second year with the Bucs, where it's like the same team is all the starters are coming back and everyone is familiar with each other. No, this is a team where new running back in the mix, 3 new tight ends in the mix, quarterback who's just entering his second season, right? Several new pieces on the offensive line and stuff. Like, this team is going to take some gelling, right? So earlier on, you'd like them to have the easier opponents so that they can win those games. And as they start to build confidence and chemistry, they have those more difficult opponents at the end of the season. So I agree.
Yeah. Let's go. Swolzy agrees with the Jets over the Ravens, though. I'm sorry. Who will play nickel cornerback this year? It will be Michael Carter II. And it will, again, I think there will be some matchups maybe where like teams are running big slots where maybe Bryce Hall will come in, but that's not going to be often enough to say he's a starter. So keep moving on. We need a backup. We need a better backup right guard. So the backup guard in general is going to be Herbig. So I think they need better.
Pretty solid backup guard.
They need backup tackle more than guard to me.
Yeah.
Tackle can fuck up a game real quick. So
yeah, I mean Herbig versus McDermott. Come on.
Yeah. J.K. Dobbins missing. Yes, he did.
And Max Mitchell. Okay, I mean like the potential's there, but
Mm-hmm.
I actually still need to watch him.
Ryan Adams, completely agree with you. Yes, I'm not trying to interrupt you, Kyle. I'm just trying to fly through this because we're very far behind, and we only have until about 8. So, especially now that my brother-in-law's dog's coming over, who's bigger, so I need to make sure my dog is nice and protected. Because if that dog bites my dog, I will fucking smash his head into the fence.
Whoa.
Yep. Hey, don't fuck with my dog. We're at that point already. It's been 2 days. I will kill you. Like maybe not like John Wick, but like John Wick, extremely light John Wick, where I can't do all the stuff, but I do have, I have the necessary tools to get done what I need to get done. I will not say anything more than that. I don't want to say on this live stream, basically, Kyle, that I'm going to murder my brother-in-law. That's basically what I'm trying to avoid. So, let's keep going. Stop it, Kyle. From Ryan to Kyle. These guys are unbiased. The Jets coverage guys come, period. Appreciate that. Swolzy.
Thanks, Swolzy.
Yeah. What up, Joey Breakdowns? He always comes in with what up, Joey Breakdowns. Hello, Newman. Kyle just got home. What did I miss? A lot in 56 minutes. Us freezing a lot.
It's been better. It's been better for the last 20 minutes. I don't know why, but.
What's up, Joe Blewett? What's up, Jeremy? I know Jeremy. When he gets to some subscriber level, I'm going to come on. He's going to take shots of hot sauce or something. So make sure you check out that whenever that is. Lamar is breaking down. He needs to sign his contract now. And again, there is legitimate discussions. And what Kyle kind of mentioned before, if he were to be top 5, top 10, legit, they know he's going to be the future guy for the next 10 years. I think he signed already. There is questions about
same thing with Kyler Murray too, by the way. Like Kyler, so Kyler obviously has really good arm talent as well. His arm talent's actually better than Lamar's, no question.
Yeah.
But Kyler at this point in his career, he's not that guy who you really trust in the pocket that often. He still makes a good portion of his plays with his legs. And it's like, I think that's why these teams are a little hesitant, like giving this guy this big long-term contract, not knowing like if they can be that guy who operates from the pocket, who is going to be there for the next 10 years. So,
yeah. So, I didn't mean to put this up. Somebody, I meant to do another one, but, very few quarterbacks turn into the top 5 quarterbacks after the type of, yeah, it's all, Peyton, obviously there's the Peyton Manning examples. There's the Matt Stafford examples. Yeah, it wasn't good, assassin, but I didn't see enough bad to where I really don't think he could be a top 5, top 10 guy. He has a talent. And I think if you I don't know if this is crazy to say, Kyle, but let's say right now that Zach Wilson through the entire 2022 season is exactly what he was in that Bucs game with the talent he now has. You're looking at a really good quarterback. That was a really good quarterback game against the Buccaneers. So he showed flashes of it. It's there.
Yeah, but then again, quarterbacks, show flashes in at least one game every year. Yeah. So we need to see that on a more consistent basis.
Of course,
it's a very fair point. It's a very fair point. There are examples that kind of go against the norm, but he is right. Like
if Blewett get me a job as an OP, I'm assuming you meant cop, but I think you're probably be the last person I would hire, Assassin. I'm not gonna lie. I love Assassin, but I could just talk with him. I don't think he'd be the best cop.
Yeah, especially because his picture is Cartman as a cop, and we all know how Cartman was as a cop.
Yeah, was that an episode? I don't know if I've seen that episode of South Park.
It was in the early episodes of South Park, but respect my authority. He was a cop that liked to abuse his power.
Yes, he does. He is known to abuse his power. Jacob, I'll be seeing you at the Minnesota game then. That's awesome. Again, I'm Sorry, I'm trying to move through this quickly. Let's keep moving on. Did I miss a super chat? I don't know if I missed the super chat or not.
There was this ad lab. I think it was like ad lab something. There was like I think they did 2 separate $10 super chats. I think.
So
you might be so far behind, but they should always get pushed up.
Yeah, quick. Really, at the end of the year, it was accuracy, it was decision making, it was smoothness going through reads. It was the fact that early in the season he started to like bail out of the pocket too early and reverse pivot out of the pocket or just scramble to his right and get out. Where towards the end of the year he got more consistency and read 1 to 2 to 3 back to 1 instead of being kind of herky jerky. Getting his feet under him, getting his foot, his conflict climbs, his footwork down more pat. His transitional footwork from read to read was more on point. So the really important, and there's a lot of important things about quarterback play that he improved on late in the year. So
sometimes just taking the check down, right? Like you don't want the quarterback that's checking down 24/7, but sometimes a check down, if the receiver on a little swing route can get you 5 yards, that's a win, right? If you can get a 5-yard run on any given play, that's a successful play, right? But sometimes like when you're forcing the ball downfield 15, 20 yards, you're starting to talk about potentially getting a turnover, right? So sometimes just taking the check down when it's not there, you saw him doing more of that. And sometimes when he would do these reverse pivots early on in the year, it's like, yeah, sometimes you break it and then you can, make a big downfield throw or potentially scramble for a first down. But what about when you reverse pivot and you dig yourself so many more yards in the backfield and then you get sacked, and it's not just a sack, but it's like a 10, 15 yard sack.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some of that early in the year.
Jacob, people, and I know Jacob's joking here. I think people get legitimately mad, like in videos, big dude, close your closet. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. It's where like my work clothes are, and there's literally, I don't know, you can't see it. But there's a gun locker in there, so I can't always close it. So
no, you can see it sometimes.
You see the gun locker?
You can't see the guns, but you can see the locker sometimes.
You can see the locker right there. Those are my buddies. Okay, who's in my closet? Nobody. My weapons. Sauce holding machine. No. He has to lessen his holding at the NFL level, but he's not a holding machine. No way. But Chris, appreciate the super chat. Again, I think I mentioned that before. Again, I'm sorry I'm moving through it so fast.
I think his contact with his hands is pretty good. Like you're not seeing the grabbing too much, but you see the constant like keeping the hand on the shoulder or keeping it on the waist of the receiver just to kind of always, in case the receiver snaps off a break, he's going to be with him. Or he's going to be there to slingshot himself or something like that. You see a lot of that, but you don't see too much of the full-on grabbing to the point where he actually is pulling a jersey or something like that.
No, there are some times, and I don't know the exact example, but again, go and watch because I'll talk about it. But there's some examples of like him like turning like a zone turn and like being off in like 3 and like grabbing with his near hand. At times where like he'll ride that hand out a little bit too long. Where at the NFL level, you have to like if you get over the top and you're getting like flat palm onto the guy, okay, cool. But there are some times where past 5 yards, you see some tugs. The guy trying to turn away from him. There's some tugs. So it's not bad where people are like, again, holding machine. No, it's not a holding machine. It's just something that you mentioned more of like a side, like not a side topic, but it's less of a concern than some people think it is.
And I know people love to keep using the Cromartie thing. You saw even in years 5, 6 of Cromartie's career, a lot more holding. Like Cromartie would do this thing where he's grabbing the receiver's shoulder pad and holding it like through the entire route.
Yeah. I don't know if you get this reference point, Kyle. You work with some younger kids, but when these nuts hit your face, like Wendy's, I like Wendy's. But I
mean, they do have a lot of those expression. Like I'm trying to think of another one. Dwight. I'm not going to say the whole expression, but yeah, they have some of these like your mother types of jokes where they'll say like, "Hey, do you know this person?" And then I don't know who you're talking about. And then they finish. Yeah, there's a lot of that. But what the hell? I mean, what does that have to do with anything? You were asking earlier in the show, like, what do people say to get hyped nowadays? I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess I'm not around enough football players.
I appreciate you guys liking the puppy. So sorry I get too excited. You guys are great. Joe's uploading something that's competing with the stream. No, I'm not. It's just my connection right now is balls. It's balls. Enough of the soft stuff. I'm sorry. The dog. If dogs don't bring out the soft side of you, then I don't know. Said, peace out. Okay, I'm sorry. There's a lot of dog comments. I'm trying to. What is the puppy's name? It's Grover. Grover. I have a problem with
Will barks.
I call him Buddy almost all the time. Like when I pick him up, like, hey, what's up, Buddy?
I had a dog named Buddy for a long time.
Oh, good thing I didn't do it then.
Good dog.
Good thing. Yeah. So yeah, her family dog just passed too. So we were gonna get a dog eventually. I was like, let's just fucking get the dog. Let's get the dog. Okay, I'm gonna keep moving on. Do you have days or times where you break down film for others to learn how to do it? So like you? No, I do shows where hopefully if you are to pay attention enough and just watch enough, you'll pick some stuff up. But in terms of like, hey, let's go through a play and tell me what you see. This is what I see. This is what I'm looking for. This is how I scout. This is how I do this, which I hate saying like scout when I watch guys. Like, no, eventually.
Well, you know what you could do though, in addition to like, yeah, if you follow along with Joe a lot enough, you're going to pick up a lot on the terminology and you're going to get familiar with some of the things he points out. But I think it also might be good if you could maybe like put together a list of like clinics that are available to the public that you recommend.
Sorry, Abe Lab Studios. Appreciate the super chat. Hey guys, I'm sure you covered this, but with all this second year quarterback leap talk, how would you rank Zach, Trevor Fields, or Trevor and Fields in terms of talent? I guess in terms of talent.
Yeah, I think he means talent.
What is so like? This is a hard question to answer, Kyle, because like, how does he want us to quantify talent? Like, is that going through reads? Is that mental processing? Is all that stuff? Because I think that we both say that Fields is probably more talented than Zach Wilson, but I like Zach Wilson more at BYU because of the processing he showed me, consistency, snap to snap. So I would say that Fields is more talented, but I'm taking Zach Wilson over any of those guys going into year two, to be completely honest. And like that, again, maybe partially has to do with their situation. Like if you could switch spots right now, hey, Trevor Lawrence is now on the Jets and Zach Wilson's now on the Jaguars. You taking Trevor Lawrence over Zach Wilson? Because I think that's a conversation. To me, I'm not taking Fields over him because nothing changed for Fields from last year at college to rookie year in the NFL, where I thought he took some massive leap that Zach Wilson failed to. So I'm taking Zach over Fields easily. Now, Zach versus Trevor, who are you taking? And in terms of talent, would you agree that Fields is probably the most talented? And I'm not making direct comparisons. Just in terms of talented quarterbacks who don't work out in the NFL, like Jamarcus Russell was talented as all hell, but obviously it's about a lot more than that. So I'm not necessarily answering the question perfectly, Abe Lab, but I definitely appreciate the super chat nonetheless. So
yeah, I'm not so sure that I agree that Fields is more talented. I mean, like straight up in a 40-yard dash, is he faster? Yeah, I don't think he's a great running quarterback, to be honest. I really don't, and that's
You've always said that.
Yeah. Fields has a very beautiful deep ball. Like his deep ball is really nice. But other than that, like in terms of most throws, I would take Zach Wilson's on most throws. I feel like he's got better touch. Not touch on a deep ball, but like, in terms of velocity, throwing things in the window.
Yeah.
Throwing on the run, I'd give that to Zach Wilson too. Kind of evading guys and being elusive too. I feel like I like Zach better there. So I don't even know if I agree with the more talented thing.
Arm talent, I'm giving it to Zach Wilson. Like overall arm talent. I said that a lot about Fields, and we looked at Fields, and yeah, it's a good point too, because you're kind of like refreshing my memory. Like going back into what I was watching of him at Ohio State, like in that review, Kyle, you watch all the reviews. How many like throws that were 10 yards on a crosser did he just completely?
I was just about to say that
put
too.
So much mustard on it, and it's like, and people say, he's amazingly accurate player. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like he's missing guys all over the place, over the middle of the field. So arm talent, I'm taking Zach Wilson because I think consistency and accuracy is a part of that. Obviously, he struggled with that year one, but in college he had it. And Justin Fields has a better deep ball. Now, in terms of arm strength, I'm giving it to Zach Wilson. Touch, giving it to Zach Wilson. His ability to just quickly flick a ball, I'm giving it to Zach Wilson. Justin Fields has a little bit of a windup. So let's keep moving on though, Kyle, because we only have a couple minutes left, and you have to go.
By the way, I think the same guy did another super chat, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm moving on. I'm at 8. I'm at 7:33.
Yeah, so why don't you skip to that one?
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, you know what? That's true. Again,
and Steven just gave us a super chat as well.
Steven, am I missing more? Is there 2 super chats?
It's towards the bottom. It's like a very recent super chat.
I'm trying to go. How would you schedule use an instructor and guest Jets expert in one event. I'm not sure.
How we schedule you as an instructor? Oh,
I just saw the next chat. We'll figure it out. I don't know if you're talking about like me, like getting a group together and let's go watch film and do that. Like that'd be kind of cool, honestly. Iowa Jets fan, which is a hilarious comment. Somehow Blewett got 1 hour behind the chat after only 50 minutes, which that's great. I love that. It's good. I'm sorry. I don't miss stuff. So I'm missing some stuff right now, but it always happens to me.
Well, Joe, if you do miss some stuff, that's more of a priority for people to throw in some super chats so that their chat will get prioritized.
That is
just saying.
That is true. I'm not doing it on purpose. This is just this is real. This is real, people. Joe, are you in Suffolk or NYPD? No, I am not. I'm in Monmouth County. That's where I'm at. So let's keep moving on. Hold on. I see something I want to get to in a little bit, but I'm almost to the bottom. Okay, my family's here too. I can hear them. Steven, I appreciate your work on and off the field. So to speak. Go Jets and stay safe out in the crazy world. Appreciate that a lot, Steven. Means a lot. Not always the easiest thing to do, but it's cool. So definitely thank you. I appreciate your appreciation for the non-football stuff that I gotta deal with. Mike, when are we gonna meet his wife? Never at a Jets game, because I know there are savages in here. And I don't feel like dealing with it. So not doing it. Okay, Kyle, let's okay, I'm to the bottom of the super chat.
But what if your wife wants to go and meet people?
She doesn't care about you guys. She doesn't care about. I'm kidding. No, she cares obviously, but let's see. Oh God, it's the Lamar Jackson can't throw nonsense. He's won 70% of the games, right? He stinks. So Terp, you
never said that, and I said they should absolutely pay him.
You have 2 years. You have 2 years. Just listen with him. We're saying that he's a good quarterback, and we think he's near that top 10 level. He struggles with his throwing a little bit though. At times, he's a really good runner. If you take away his legs, it's a completely different conversation. So, yeah, we're not getting into that conversation. I know what that's going to turn into. I'm not gonna do it. But Kyle, let's get through, and I want you to track it because I'm going to ask you the questions because again, I gotta get out of here at 8. But we're gonna go through the Jets schedule. I want you to organically pick the games and your thoughts. I will make a buzzer sound. I will do something that we only have like 30 seconds for each game. So go through it as quickly as you can because that is what we need to do. It's lightning round schedule prediction. And then we are going to see what Kyle thinks because I think I landed at 9-8 last week, Kyle. But I think I said realistically bet my life on one score. Or one prediction. It's 8-9. So I don't know if you're going to agree with me. Let's see. Kyle, week 1, Baltimore Ravens, quick thoughts, win or loss?
Oh, win.
Really? Okay. I'm honest. To be honest, you didn't say anything past that, which is kind of crazy. But
you're telling me it's lightning round.
That's 30 seconds. It's okay. So you have the Jets at 1-0. To me, I am nervous about the corners. I am nervous about the defense, even though they don't have the same defensive coordinator. And I'm a little bit worried about the running game. Again, I think it's really going to emphasize the Jets' safeties and linebackers in terms of tackling. They're not the best there. So I predicted a loss. I'm not going to give you everything I said because this is your time, but I did predict a loss there. But continuing on, the Cleveland Browns at the Cleveland Browns week 2.
Loss.
Okay. And I think you kind of had your bet there. And I think you would say like, okay, well, maybe if it's Watson, they lose, but maybe it's, not Kaiser. Who's a backup from the Colts? Brissett. Maybe if it's Brissett, they win or they win that game. So it's a possibility. We'll see. Bengals week 3 at home.
I really want to pick a win. I don't feel like the Bengals are as good as people are gassing them up to be. I don't feel like they should have been in that Super Bowl last year. But I'll say loss. They did improve this year. They finally got some pieces on the offensive line to help protect Burrow. I'll say loss.
I think, to be honest, the Bengals could listen. They're a good team. They've improved in terms of getting Lyle Collins and stuff. But if I told you right now, hey, we're going to fast forward 7-8 months, whatever, and the Bengals finish 3rd in their division, I don't think you'd think I'm crazy, right? The Browns can finish better than them, and the Ravens can finish better than them, and that's not necessarily like a diss to them, but their division's good. It's going to be a battle for them. And again, I think you're right. Like they almost lost to the Raiders. They almost lost to the Titans. They almost lost. And I get they almost did. They squeaked it out. I don't think they're a Super Bowl conference championship repeat. Like I would be surprised if you told me, hey, the Bengals even made maybe not divisional, but the conference championship this year. I would be surprised. Week 4 at Steelers.
I'm gonna say win. I mean, this is a tough place to play. Trying to think so the Jets have beaten the Steelers a couple times over the years, but when's the last time they won in Pittsburgh? I mean,
I know they had the big game at home where the big game a couple of years ago, but then they had a game like 2017 where like Jaquan Jarrett picked off 2 balls from Ben. But moving on, Kyle. So
I'll say win.
Okay, next game, Dolphins at home.
Win.
Next game at Packers, which I am going to be at Packers.
Loss.
So I think I did the whole thing like in my mindset, like give the Jets a win that you don't expect and give them a loss you don't expect. I actually picked them to win the Packers game. Just again, there's always that one game. Titans last year, Bengals that last year, it's going to happen. So that's the one I just threw out there. Next game, Kyle, at the Broncos.
Loss.
Same. Yeah. Next week, home against the Patriots.
Win.
4-4. All right, I'll take it.
And I think Joe froze up. So until he comes back, next. Okay, Bills at Jets. We on the same page? By the way, guys, let us know in the chat if is it Joe who's just frozen or is it me too?
Can you hear me, Kyle? Sorry,
I can hear you now.
It's it's home against the Bills. So we're 4-4 right now, going into the last
loss.
4-5. I think so.
I think this is the best team in the league right now, the Buffalo Bills.
Me too. So right now they're 4-5 going to the bye. To be completely honest, to me, 3 wins is the minimum you need to have. I think that's acceptable. I think 3 wins out of these with the schedule coming up is the minimum. I don't like people might think, oh my God, 3 wins, 3-6, that's terrible. That schedule is brutal to start. You can see them starting a little slow because I think at this point, after their week 10 bye, they can make up some legitimate ground. So bye week 10, week 11 at the Patriots.
Loss.
Split it. I think that's good to have those expectations. Home Bears.
Win.
12. Win.
Might be the easiest game we've talked about so far.
Week 13 at the Vikings.
Win.
Wow. Okay. 12. They have a couple of easy games left, and Kyle Smith has them at 6-6 right now. So next game, week 14, tough one at Buffalo.
Loss.
Definitely, yeah. Well, not definitely. I think they could. Legitimately, I think they could beat the Bills in one game. It's divisional. They play them relatively tightly, even when they're bad. So maybe they surprise them. I wouldn't bet my house on it, but it could happen. Next week, week 15, at home against the Lions.
Win.
7-7. All right. I think we're in the graphic now. It's December probably ish, right? Yeah. We're in the middle of December. We're in the graphic. Next week, week 16, home against the Jaguars.
Win.
8-7. Week 17, Kyle. We're fighting for a playoff spot at the Jamal Adamses.
Win.
9-7. All right. And to finish off the season at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami for probably a playoff spot.
Loss.
To end the season. That would be a brutal way to end the season. So Kyle Smith has the Jets at 9-8. I also, going through the schedule, had the Jets at 9-8. Kyle, guns to your head right now. Pick one record for the Jets at the end of the year, even though we just went through it game by game. What is the Jets record at the end of the year?
I'm going to stick with 9-8.
Wow.
And part of the reason I'm going to say that is the depth. Right.
Wow.
I feel like, like injuries are going to happen to any team in the NFL. But let's say even Zach goes down, Joe Flacco, that's a damn good backup. So I like our depth. I'll say 9-8.
Awesome. So Kyle, we're going to move through some, again, we missed some topics. We have some topics for next time now, which is great. Again, sorry, I have to get off a little bit earlier tonight. Last stream, I did 4 hours. So if you guys, for the people like, it wasn't long enough. It was a 4-hour stream last week. So the hate on Lamar is pretty unwarranted. I think Evil's Hill is somebody who actually comes in here. I don't think we're hating on him. I just think we're being realistic in terms of what we see at quarterback play. I think he's a top 10 guy. I just think he's more towards the bottom of that top 10 than towards the top of that top 10. Is that unwarranted?
Are we being unreasonable when we ask this question? I'm going to ask the question. Anyone in the chat thinks we're being a little harsh towards Lamar, answer this question. When you compare Lamar Jackson to the other top 10 quarterbacks, whoever you think is in that top 10, as a passer, how do you think he stacks up as a passer? That's what I'm saying, right? Okay.
And Kyle, I think, and again, I'm not going to get into this, but we know that the conversation with him, because of certain things, it's going to trickle in like, oh, Gil Brandt or whoever with the running back receiver stuff. That's bullshit. It is bullshit.
Oh yeah, and we never ever were
No,
on that train.
no. But he needs to be more consistent as a passer. That's is what it is. So
and by the way, just an FYI, before the Jets traded up to 3 that draft, and the Jets were at 6, I would have been okay if they missed out on all those top quarterbacks. I would have been okay with taking Lamar at 6.
Yeah,
I said that numerous times.
Yeah, so us trashing him, like we're not saying he's a bottom 10 like saying he's 8, 9, 10 instead of 4, 5, 6. That's trashing. I think people come here and typically they, I don't want to put words to people out. They applaud us for how honest we are. There's no bias in here. Like we're just trying to be honest about what we see in the football field. Win from Jennifer. I've never seen you before, Jennifer, but what is up? She had us winning whatever game that was. It's the puppy chewing the cable. 4 and 5 is realistic at the bye. Yeah, Trend the Great. I think I'd like another puppy one.
4 and 5 at the bye would be pretty good.
Great. Yeah. I would sign the dotted line for that right now. I guess I froze up a little bit a couple minutes ago, huh? Sorry about that. Let's see. Lose Minnesota. I picked them to lose that game, but I could easily see the Jets going in there and beating up the Vikings. They don't necessarily scare me. So keep going down in the chat, Kyle. A couple more questions. I got to jump off, unfortunately. King Co is 7 and 10, 8 and 9. I think 7 and 10 is the lowest I want them to win. That's the lowest total of games where I'm going to be like, okay, obviously it depends on how they get there. Is it the defense dominating and Zach Wilson sucking? Okay, that's negative. But if it's a good blend of both, okay, I could live with 7
and if they
10.
had and if that 7 and 10, they had a lot of, like, let's say that a lot of their wins were like blowout wins, and then they lost a couple heartbreakers to good teams. Like that's a quality 7 wins.
Now 6 and 10, 6 and 11 is the absolute no questions asked the floor. If they don't win at least 6 games, there's a massive problem. 7 and 10 is my like, okay, I'm relatively happy type floor. 6 is if it's less than 6, there's serious problems to me. 8, 9 wins if Zach transcends 10, 11. Let's see. Keep moving on. Lamar is a really good player, but his passing is bottom 12 in the league. Yeah, and like Harold, like
I saw that too, and I was like, that's a good point,
dude. Like, and we're being honest. It is what it is. Lamar is good. He just needs to improve his passing. It just is what it is. So, keep moving.
And the thing with Lamar too is like you have to run your offense a certain way, right? Like you have to cater it around his skill set, which is fine, and you do that with a lot of players and stuff too. I'm just saying, like, Lamar is not a top 5 quarterback, and all I'm saying, if you're a Ravens fan, you just have to be a little bit concerned that he's your answer for the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Kyle is the one with the Jet stuff on the wall. It's because Kyle should stick. Hey, I get it. I'm gonna have a backdrop. I'm gonna have some lights. I'm gonna have the green light up sign like Ryan has. I'm gonna have some Jet stuff in here eventually. But Kyle, are you gonna stay on if I leave? I don't know if that's even a possibility, but you could if you really.
I mean, I could do that realistically. I just will the StreamYard allow that to happen if you drop out? I
don't know. We could. Can you see the stuff on the bottom? Like, can you see mute, stop cam settings, all that stuff?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know if it's possible that you could turn over the hosting ability.
If I leave, just stay and I'll see what happens. And if not, it works. Or if it works, great. If not, then sorry. I don't know what to do past that.
I mean, even if I couldn't put the comment on the screen, I could just read without it. I don't know.
Yeah. So exactly 7+ wins is a must. Okay. Let's see. Keep going on. What do you think about our defense? We run a 4-2-5. Yes, primarily. We really do not have that many linebackers. Yeah, we talked about this a lot. Sorry to go through it quick. Just we're wrapping up the show, or at least I'm wrapping up the show. Linebackers really thin. They have more talent at pretty much all the other positions on defense. So they're going to try to trickle in those position groups more than linebackers. So would you keep Mosley if he does a David Harris friendly deal next year? 1,000%. If he signs for anything less than $13 million, I'm keeping him. Just drop him from 17 to 13. I think that's enough for him.
I don't know that he'd do that though, because
I don't think so.
He walked away from Baltimore and he wanted a big paycheck. So
okay. I don't know. I appreciate you guys. I obviously have to. Host has to transfer a role. How do I do that? Kick from studio, share, invite. How do I transfer role? Kyle can. I don't care. I trust Kyle enough to run this thing. I just don't know how to do it. Kick from studio, edit mic settings, edit name. I don't have.
Do you see the 3 dots next to me?
Yeah,
Like,
I do. It doesn't say anything in there.
Oh, it doesn't when you click it?
No, I only have edit name, edit mic settings, kick from studio. Kyle and the chat, I appreciate all of you guys. Again, sorry I have to run a little bit early. I'll be back next Wednesday. Kyle, I'm going to leave, and we're going to see if it works for you. If it just stays in here and this is your first solo live stream, running it for however long you want to run it. If not, then maybe I can send you some of the info to sign in and you can just get back in here. But I'm going to leave. See you guys later.
All right, take care, Joe. It seems like it's still running. I just don't know that I'll be able to put the stuff up on the screen. So I'll just read what I see anyway. Okay. What happens if Lamar can't run anymore? Yeah, it's kind of what I'm saying. Like, he is going to slow down at some point. He's not going to be as fast as, we know him to be. Let's see. Kyle Smith solo, Dolo, whatever the hell that means. Jennifer said bye. Let's see. Eagle Fang has to run as well. He said, good talking with the Jets fans. Harold's saying 11-6 because I expect Zach to be a top 14 quarterback this year. 32 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, 4,200 passing yards, and 300 yards rushing. 4 touchdowns on the ground is my expectation for year 2. I mean, oof, boy, would we sign up for that. Yeah. 300 yards rushing. That seems like a lot for me. How much did he have last year? And I know a huge amount of it came on that one run. And Zach certainly does have the legs, but I don't know. 300 still kind of seems like a lot for me. What is your favorite thing that you heard about in OTAs so far? Honestly, I haven't heard anything that really jumped out at me too much. Why don't you guys tell me what some people are saying in OTAs about certain players and stuff? Sometimes when the practices are going on, I'm at work at the moment and I can't always catch up in the moment. Nixon Taylor, Kyle getting a bigger name in the intro now! Exclamation marks. Yeah, I thought that was so funny. Dark Assassin, what comment did I skip? I felt like I read your comment. Let's see. CD is saying that it's still running. Let's see. Edward says, hopefully rare history with 11 wins, but sign me up. Do you feel anyone on the roster can be like a poor man's Kyle Juszczyk? No, I think he's a unique player. I mean, could there be this is no disrespect to Sam Cernick, who's done some good work for the website. He said that, that he's like this like extremely unique player and that I think he said something along the lines of there will never be another Juszczyk in the league. And I don't agree with that. I think that there very well could be another player like that. I just don't know that there is another player like that in the league right now. Whatever his name is, Bawden or whatever, he's kind of impressed me, but he's, he does not have that kind of receiving skill set or anything. So anyway, nobody on the roster, on this current roster, I don't think can get to that skill set. Could they draft a guy in future years or maybe find some other type of guy? Maybe. All right. Let's see. CD says your win-loss intimates that you are sold on this coaching staff. Yeah, CD, if I'm being honest, I'm actually not very sold on them. I do really like what they've done with the roster, and I am a believer in Zach Wilson. And I keep hearing so many good things about Robert Saleh, and it does genuinely see like players like really like him. And I see a GM coach relationship where they seem to work well with each other. So I'm optimistic about the coaching staff, but honestly, I was a little disappointed last year with what I saw from the coaching staff. So maybe I am a little too high on the win total for that reason. But I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to be optimistic. Sometimes people say I'm too negative. Okay, let's see. Swolsey says the running game could take off in an insane way to the point that Zach can just grow at his own pace. Very realistic. Yeah, that's something that I was saying in previous weeks. I think Brees is definitely a stud. Michael Carter's a stud. I just hope he can stay healthy. But man, if those two guys can stay healthy and Tevin Coleman's your third, because he's going to get banged up too. But man, just watching Tevin Coleman last year, there was at least 5 occasions where he was just a little guy grabbing his ankle from breaking off a big, like 40+ yard run. So him as your third option, man. And then these two guys that you got who could, be like top 20-ish running backs in their own right. Yeah, this running game could be really good. And then, dude, I mean, if Zach only has to throw, less than 30 times a game, that's huge. Let's see. Dark Assassin saying, Smith, let me live in your basement. I'll pay rent. Don't you live in like Pittsburgh or something like that? I'm trying to move home. Let's see. Haven't heard anything negative on OTAs. Yeah, from what I've been hearing, I don't think that I feel like some of the beat reporters were saying this is some of the lightest OTAs I've ever seen, meaning like they didn't do too much. Let me know if I'm right about that. Okay. Let's see. I think his name is Masuk Jinnah saying, I feel that we will have a boom or bust season if the team stays healthy and Zach makes a second year leap. I really think we can win between 9 to 11 games and shock the world. Dude, it's definitely not impossible. I don't think anybody was expecting the Bengals to be in the Super Bowl, and quite honestly, within, a hair from winning the Super Bowl. They were, and the thing about the Bengals too is, let's talk about coaching staff again. Who honestly was impressed with the coaching staff of the Bengals the first 2 years? I mean, what did they win? They won 4 games in Burrow's rookie year. And then the year before that, what did they win? 2, maybe 3 games? So you're talking about, 5 to 6 wins in the first 2 years of that coaching staff. So could the Jets shock the world? Absolutely. I guess we'll see. Let's see. Any chance Jets get a back to that fullback role to help blocking again? I mean, they liked putting why am I forgetting Wesco? They like putting Wesco at fullback. And dude, when he gets a running start and he can line up a defender and the defender can't easily move out of the hole because they have to contain the gap and remain with gap integrity, Wesco can level people. He absolutely can. Sometimes when he gets into space and he can miss guys when they can kind of sidestep him. But Wesco's not bad as a fullback in terms of blocking. The problem with Wesco is he's a slower type of player. He's not a fluid athlete. So if you're asking him to kind of like catch a swing route, like let's say the Jets ran a play fake where they had let's say they had like an I formation or something like that, and they ran it, and then it was a play action fake, and then Wesco, he goes out on like a swing route or then ends up running a wheel or something like that. He doesn't have the type of talent where he can pull away from a linebacker while running a wheel route or something like that. So you're limited to what things you can do with Wesco. Let's see. If Breece Hall, this is coming from CD, if Breece Hall can lower his shoulder and with his elusiveness, he could be special. Yeah. So Breece has that level of patience, and sometimes the patience thing can backfire. Certainly when Le'Veon Bell got a little bit less explosive and he was playing behind a worse offensive line, and ultimately holes didn't open up for him when I'm speaking about when he was with the Jets, his patience was almost kind of a negative. Being that this is a pretty solid offensive line, I think, and granted, they still need to prove themselves. I think Breece Hall's patience will, pay off. But he also, 4.39 speed, that's, 93rd percentile for a running back. He can pull away from dudes. There are some times when defenders get a pursuit angle on him where they'll kind of catch him and bring him down with an ankle tackle. And sometimes you'd like to see, man, Breece, I wish you could have just thrown a stiff arm at the end and found a way to just evade that one last defender. But he does have good home run speed, much more so than Michael Carter. Like Michael Carter had that big long run against the Dolphins last year. And the Jets didn't get a touchdown on that drive, if I'm not mistaken. But if he was a little bit faster, he probably could have taken that one to the house. If I remember correctly, I think ABT had a big block on that play. Let's see. Nikki Free says JD revamped the strength and conditioning staff too after the slew of injuries. Yeah, that's promising. Yeah, I feel like the Jets for a long time had a pretty good strength and conditioning staff, but the past couple of years, the Gase years, and then obviously last year, injuries have been a bitch. Edward Stewart says, I loved it last season, beating Cincinnati. Yeah, that was great. And, I'm not a huge Mike White fan, but it was pretty cool seeing him, what was it? He caught a 2-point conversion. Obviously, he had the 400 yards, although a lot of it was just check down routes and stuff. Although he did have some really good throws. That touchdown pass to Braxton Berrios, that was a hell of a throw. So yeah, that was a cool game. Probably the best win of the year. Let's see. CD says, I like Wesco. He's pretty athletic, quick feet. I don't know that I agree with that. Matthew Goldberg says, do you see the Jets having a top 10 offense in the next 3 years? I would say yes. And that is definitely based on Zach Wilson. So some people are saying, oh, it's not all on Zach Wilson. It's not all on Zach Wilson. True. Yeah, it's not all on Zach Wilson. But over the next 3 years, yeah, if the Jets are going to have a top 10 offense in the future, it's going to be based on Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson doesn't become what we hope he can be, then they will not have a top 10 offense, I don't believe. And then CD saying, yeah, Wesco's not a receiver. Okay, so I guess we agree then. Evil Skittles says, oh yeah, once Hall finds a hole and hits it, he's absolutely flying. Love the way that he plays. Yeah, and even though I was kind of criticizing for not throwing the stiff arm, sometimes like when he does throw it, he can level people with it. Let's see. Michael Carter's a good running back, but he just doesn't have the stride for the top end speed. Yep. And I think that's part of the reason why you saw him slip to the 4th round. But he still should have gone earlier than that, I believe. Edward Stewart says, Jets have the running game. Wesco extra blocking would be huge. Mike White has his cleats in Canton. Yeah, why did he get his cleats in Canton? What was the exact reason? Was because I think it was like 400 yards in his first start. I think that's why. I think that was the first time that was ever done. Ragnar Jet says Green Bay Jets series since 91 is 4-4. Last 3 games since 2010, Jets losses. Yeah. I remember that 2010, that was Halloween, if I'm not mistaken. I remember that Greg Jennings and whoever else they had at receiver, I think it was Donald Driver at the time, they're like, yeah, we can't wait to go trick-or-treating on Revis Island. And honestly, the Jets defense locked the Packers up. I think Rodgers had less than 200 yards passing that game, but Mark Sanchez was god-awful. Clay Matthews had, I think, at least 3 sacks. He was beaten up on whoever the Jets' right tackle was, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, that wasn't a fun day. Were you more excited for Breece or Michael Carter out of college? Breece Hall. Yeah, I think Breece Hall kind of has like the complete package. And has the higher upside than Michael Carter. He's bigger, he's faster, he has the receiving skill set that Michael Carter has. So yeah, Breece, he honestly could have been a 1st round pick, but I get why teams don't draft running backs in the 1st round. Totally get it. Okay, someone needs to sacrifice a chicken and leave some run for Jobo in the locker room so that the Jets stay healthy. Okay. Did you see Sims having Ruckert as his tight end number 1 for this year? Just said he was underutilized in Ohio State, but flashed a ton. Definitely underutilized, but I mean, can you blame the Ohio State coaching staff for underutilizing him? I mean, they had a ton of stud wide receivers. I mean, that Jackson Smith and Jigba is probably going to be a top 10-ish pick next year. And you compare him to both these guys, he's definitely quicker and shiftier than both Wilson and Olave. But I don't think that he's got the deep speed that either of them have. But anyway, when you have 3 receivers like that, obviously Rucker is going to be a little bit underutilized. Rucker, even though he's like, the dude's jacked. He's definitely jacked. He's a very willing blocker, but he does have some technique issues at the point of attack, like on the line of scrimmage. Now, Blewett threw up a couple clips on Twitter where he was climbing to the 2nd level and taking on linebackers and leveling them. Yeah, I mean, that shows his willingness, and he's definitely got the strength to block well, but sometimes, like, technique issues, he dips his head too much rather than having proper knee bend and stuff, and he can get sideswiped a little bit on the line of scrimmage. But I think there's room for improvement of him as a blocker. But yeah, I like the player, man, and I feel like he's got good hands and stuff. So he could very well be. I mean, as a receiving tight end, I think year 1 he's going to be a better receiving tight end than Uzama. I really do. In terms of like catching and running routes and stuff, Uzama might be a better yak guy though. Uzama is, even though I've been criticizing him a lot, he's not the greatest when it comes to that. Let's see. Jets excellent history against Green Bay. Edward Stewart. All right. Phil C says, I'd rather have Breece than Najee, to be honest. Pittsburgh is making that guy carry the load. 4 years max on Harris. Yeah, I mean, dude, they're going to run him into the ground. But Najee's a very good running back. I like Najee. Evil Skills, I don't think we should listen to someone named Big Benat. It must be someone else in the chat. All right. Like that tight end group now. All All right, let me scroll up and see if I can see anything else. So someone confirmed that it was Mike White having the 400-yard game. Let's see. All right, well, if you guys got more stuff, I'm willing to stay for a little bit more. I don't know if I'm boring you guys. I know that you guys come here for Blewett, not me. Totally understandable. All right, Roland Ello says AVT and Mackay be opening holes on the right side for dynamic duo running backs. I would not move Mackay back into the right side. And I know that this is kind of like a debate. Listen, George Fant, Blewett he should get way more credit than me for that. Blewett was, when he watched his film, he was very impressed, even though a lot of people clown the Jets for that signing. $10 million a year for George Fant. Like, what the hell are the Jets doing? I remember John Ledyard was one such person that said that. I think the PFF guys were also down on that because, Fant graded like a 65 in their grade book or whatever. But when you watched Fant's tape, especially when he was at left tackle and towards the latter part of his time in Seattle, there was a lot to be impressed with. But for me, and I know Mackay played right tackle at a certain point when he was at Louisville, but he hasn't played there in years. And you drafted him 11th overall. He showed really good flashes as a rookie at left tackle. Just because Fant, who's 30, who only has 1 year left on his contract, just because he's played better when he's had to play left tackle, I'm not just going to go and switch Mackay to right tackle now. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, they can definitely, these guys can definitely open up. Whoever said that, Roland might have meant to say left side. Okay. Just can't wait to get things going in training camp. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to get to a couple training camp practices this year. My dad likes going too, even though he's a Chiefs fan. But he's the reason I'm a Jets fan, even though he's a Chiefs fan. Okay, Mike says, nah, man, I'm enjoying the Kyle Smith show. It's about damn time. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. Evil Skills, I don't find you boring at all. Appreciate that, Evil. All right, we come for the chemistry. LOL. Yeah, there's not much chemistry now. All right, Phil C says, Kyle, did you think AVT should have stayed left guard and have Tomlinson adjust to the right side? Have AVT master his craft on the left side? Yeah, I really don't like switching AVT. Apparently, from what I heard, he's really okay with it. And from everything I know, AVT is a good kid. He's a hard worker. But, has AVT ever played on the right side? I know he played left tackle his final year at USC. And I know Tomlinson, but there's the old expression, it's hard to teach an old dog, new tricks. And Tomlinson's 30 years old. And you did sign him to a 3-year contract, so you're expecting him to be here for the foreseeable future. But I really don't like the idea of switching AVT to the right side. But I would say that it's probably going to be easier for AVT to learn a new position than it is for Tomlinson at their respective stages for their career. So I get it. It's just, I don't really love it, to be honest. So, okay. Let's see. Rate the Jets coaching staff in the AFC East. Okay. So obviously, just because of Belichick, I'm going to put the Patriots 1. Now, there's some serious questions about what's going on the offensive side of the ball for them right now. But I think Belichick has showed that, he's went times having McDaniels and haven't having McDaniels. He's had, Charlie Weiss was the offensive coordinator really early on. Belichick has had his hands all over that team for many years. And I don't think anybody in here right now can say that Belichick is not the greatest coach in the NFL right now and very possibly the greatest coach of all time. So I'd have to put the Patriots number 1, Bills number 2, and then there's a big gap in between the coaching staffs right now of who's 3 and 4. And it's kind of hard to say with the Dolphins because they're unproven. So I'll say 3 is, a wash right now between either of those. We'll see. I will say that when I hear the press conferences for the Miami coach, he does seem very impressive. But honestly, when Adam Gase, if you listen to him in an interview, especially when the heat's not on him, he can sound impressive too. Forget the whole crazy eyes thing and stuff, but when he's kind of more natural and loose, and I think that's kind of reason why he won over Christopher Johnson is he's pretty good in an interview and he can be nice when he's talking about football. So just because McDaniel, I believe that's the Miami coach's name, can sound nice in a press conference doesn't mean that he's necessarily a good coach. But I think that the San Francisco running game was damn good for years there, and supposedly he played a huge role in that. So, okay. Edward Stewart says should have kept Morgan Moses for another season. I would have been down for that. But I don't know that. Does anyone have the numbers on what contract he got? I know he got more money than what he got previously with the Jets, but he definitely didn't get a huge contract. So he was solid. Definitely not as good as someone like PFF would say that he is, but he was solid. Okay, Evil Skittle says, what player do you want to really succeed this upcoming year who isn't Zach Wilson? That is a good question. I'm probably going to say Carl Lawson. It was tough seeing him go down after he was, dude, from day one, the whole night when he signed with the Jets and he's got the Jets beanie on, and then he's saying Jets, Jets. And like he was always the hype man from day one, posting workout videos and stuff. And he's dealt with injuries in his career for a good portion of his career. To see him go down without even playing an actual snap, that sucked. So I would probably say him. All right. Nikki Free says, already asked this, but who else do you think we can pick up in free agency? Honestly, pretty worried about the linebacker and safety. Well, Quan Alexander, the team's been in negotiations with him. Ogunjobi. Interior defensive line, they got to sign somebody. In terms of backup tackle, they got to add somebody too. And I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. Do you guys know if did Eric Fisher sign somewhere? He had a pretty solid season in Indianapolis last year, and obviously he had good years with the Chiefs. Last year with the Chiefs, he was banged up, but it seemed like he had a pretty good rebound. So if he's available, I don't see why he would want to come to be a backup. So, but they definitely need to add tackle, linebacker, interior defensive line for sure. Okay, let's see. Mike says, Kyle, because of the subpar talent at safety and linebacker, how do you see that hurting the Jets the most against the run, middle to intermediate pass defense? It's a good question. Okay, so let's start with linebacker. I want to say that they're going to be more exposed in the pass game. Quincy plays with his hair on fire, and sometimes he can overrun the gap. And so let's say that the team's running like outside mid zone or something like that. Quincy, he's so tenacious that he wants to make the play, and sometimes he can get overrun, and then linebacker can not linebacker, a lineman can come and climb on him, and then he'll give the running back like an easy cutback lane, which is obviously not good. But I do see a lot of issues with him in the pass game. It seems like he's kind of confused with passing off guys in zones and things like that. So I want to say more in the pass game with linebacker. In terms of safety, I would also have to say the passing game as well. Although, dude, if Ashton Davis is playing significant reps at safety, you want to talk about a guy who, when he comes down, he's totally uncontrolled. And I also see a good amount of that with Joyner as well. But if we're talking safety, you're obviously thinking pass first. So, yeah. Hope that answers the question. What teams could pose a problem considering those weaknesses? Definitely the Ravens in week one in terms of, you want to talk about when you play the Ravens, you have to you literally can't have if you want to bottle up Lamar, you have to be perfect in everyone making the proper run fits in their assignments. So if anybody is off, it could be for example, if you have somebody playing the quarterback and they're diving on the dive for the running back, and you're giving Lamar an easy out to scoot on the outside. You're talking about a big run right there. So week one against the Ravens, everybody needs to be playing to their assignments. Okay. Phil C, is it a bad statement to say leave AVT as left guard and just resign LDT instead of Tomlinson and switch AVT? I'd much rather have Tomlinson than LDT. LDT was a fine pickup, especially in comparison to what they were playing earlier in the season. But Tomlinson's really solid just because, he's going to be able to suit up every week. and he's a very solid player, familiar with the system. He's not great or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but he's solid. So you're talking about a very solid starting guard who's Pro Bowl-ish level talent on a good year versus a guy who's probably a backup who, should not be starting anywhere in LDT, but a solid backup. Okay. BK Kion says, you think with everything done to this point that the gap is that big? Amazing. I'm not sure what gap we're talking about. My bad for not knowing. CD says, Kyle, glad to have you here. Oh, glad to be here. And appreciate anybody who's willing to listen. Okay. Evil Skittle says, as much as I despise the Patriots and Belichick, he is the greatest of all time of coaches, hands down, and it's not super close either. Yeah, Skittles, I have to agree. And it's tough for me to compare him to guys like Lombardi and even Don Shula because they're before my time. But there hasn't been any time in my football rooting life where he wasn't the consensus best coach. And to be that good for that long. Now, and this is what makes the whole thing fascinating is some people say, well, what's he done since Brady? And I would say, well, he did take a rookie, Mac Jones, to the playoffs last year. He did take, Matt Castle to an 11-5 season. So I get it. And Brady did win the Super Bowl without Belichick. So some people will say Brady's better than Belichick for that reason. And I think that both things can be true. The reason why they were so good for so long in a league where it's so hard to be so good for so long is because both of those guys were always there for the team and they're just two of the greatest. So, okay. Yeah. Evil Skittles agrees with me about Lawson. Okay. Harold says, leave Becton on the left. Fant is not a better player. I'm damn right about that. You're so right about that. Not sure why people are so eager to flip on and borderline Pro Bowl rookie and make him switch sides for a slightly above average tackling in year 7. Yeah, I mean, dude, you're talking about the upside versus Becton versus Fant. And I think the thing with Becton is, and I really like the editing job that Michael Nania did with picking that clip from Joe Blewett saying that about Becton and the way he kind of flashed Becton, Becton's highlights in on that portion of the highlight. Becton, if he has like forget elite level technique, but good technique, I mean, you're talking about just an elite talent and borderline Hall of Fame player. Like one of the things that Daniel Jeremiah had Becton as a top 5 player in his draft is he said he just didn't lose pass rush reps. Now in college, part of the reason why he didn't lose pass rush reps is just nobody was, college players were just not strong enough to get around him. I mean, that's a massive human being who's got really smooth feet. The problem with Becton sometimes you'd see is sometimes he would shoot his hands a little bit high, and some techniques that were some players that had pretty good technique. For example, Mario Addison, who's not a freakish player by any means, but he's a player who's got, look at his stats throughout his career. He's got a lot of sacks. He's a savvy pass rusher, and he would get under Becton a lot, and he beat him for a couple sacks in his rookie year. But if Becton can kind of improve on just little things like that, just hand placement, timing when he shoots his hands and things like that. But once he gets his hands on you in a good spot, you're not getting past him. And you can't teach. Some guys are just good athletes. He's a good athlete. I've never seen a guy that big have as smooth as feet as he. And then maybe someone would say, oh, someone like Orlando Pace or something like that. Again, a little bit before my time. So, okay. CD says Moses wasn't a good fit. He really wasn't. Moses was masked by how poorly GVR played. All right. Yeah, I can see that. They made Alexander an offer, just waiting for him to decide. Yeah, and I heard the same thing as the deal with Ogunjobi. Fisher's still a free agent. Okay. Deion Jones got injured, but even then I heard from Falcons that he's a shell of his former self. Oh, that's not good to hear. Okay, let's see. CD says this scheme doesn't seem to need or want a big offensive lineman, just guys with quick feet. Your thoughts? The thing with Becton is Becton moves good in space too. like you saw 370 pounds running a 5.140. You'd see him get into open space and level people. In terms of, running outside zone runs or, so basically whenever you run outside zone runs, there's basically, 3 reads, bounce, bang, and bend. All right. And, Becton defines gaps for running back. So the thing with zone is you want to make the running back have an easy read. And now Becton, like he would literally throw edge defenders, like completely wash them outside the gap. And I do agree with Blewett when he says this point, like that's really like it makes for a really good highlight reel, and it definitely defines the gap for a running back. But sometimes Becton would need to a way he can slightly improve that is by keeping his hands on the defender. Because sometimes like he would throw them and thus he's not controlling them anymore. And sometimes they would able to be to get themselves back in on the play. But you want to talk about just pure strength and ability to define a gap for a running back. I mean, he has that, and he can also get out in space too. So while they're not like a team that's running a lot of power and stuff like that, and you're not going to necessarily ask Becton to do like a lot of down blocks and stuff, he's a solid fit for the scheme, if that makes any sense. Roland says, Kyle, much respect, bro. Appreciate your takes. Thank you. Evil Skittle says LET was an upgrade over GVR. That's for sure. Haha. Yeah. I don't think anyone disagrees there. Alexander Hunt, Bill almost beat the Bucks with a rookie and a garbage roster. Yes. That was a great game last year. Yeah. Bill, I mean, dude, I remember Jacoby Brissett's rookie year. It was a Thursday night football game. And I'm trying to remember. So I think Brady was suspended for the first 4 games and Jimmy G got hurt or something like that. Yeah, Jimmy G got hurt. So Jacoby Brissett, a rookie. I'm trying to remember what team they were playing. But anyway, the Patriots just completely routed that team in that game. And Jacoby Brissett barely had to throw any passes. And like a lot of people say, this is one of Bill Belichick's best coached games ever. I mean, he just has some of these brilliant games. Let's see. Okay. Evil Skittle says, great points. Making the playoffs with a rookie QB is huge. Belichick has always had a fantastic defensive plan too, no matter what team he plays. Yeah, and he is a defensive coach. So that's definitely where his wheelhouse is. But the dude's like a football savant, man. If you read some books about like, all the contributions he's made to the games, it's like, wow, he's been around the block and really knows his stuff. Alexander, I like the message the Jets are sending, making it a competition. Jets told Fant they wanted him at left tackle when they signed him and converted him from a tight end. Well, the Jets didn't convert him from a tight end, but yeah, I mean, did he ever play tight end at any point when he was with the Seahawks? The Jets certainly didn't. He was a tackle. He was a backup tackle for most of his time with Seattle, and he started here and there. And when he did start, he did a fine job in Seattle, hence why the Jets gave him a $10-ish million a year contract. Edward Stewart says, I see a split with New England myself. Yeah, New England's roster is not as impressive as it has been in other years. Okay, Phil C says, Kyle, what was your take on watching Clemens' film? I feel screen and draw will ruin him in his rookie year. Yeah, with Clemens, I would say that I'm not as high on him as some other Jets fans are. I like he's got a very good motor. And for me, if I'm watching a guy and they do not have a good motor as a pass rusher, I don't want him at all because you need that. If I got a guy who's taking off a ton of plays, I do not want that type of guy. He has a good motor, but he is not a good athlete. Like he's not very explosive out of his stance. He doesn't have great bend. He is long, and I think that he'll get some sacks and pressures just from, using a long arm and things like that. But, some people are liking him over, for example, Jacob Martin. I'm definitely more impressed with what I've seen from Jacob Martin. Granted, one guy's a decent amount. One guy's an experienced veteran, but Clemens is also 24. So in terms of draw ruining him and screens ruining him, I'd have to kind of review that. And I'm also curious to ask Blewett what he thinks about that. I didn't notice that as being a problem with him, but maybe it is. I only watched 2 of his games. all 22. And I did watch them closely, but maybe it is a big problem. Okay, let's see. Somebody said, CD said, maybe you are missing the point on Becton and Fant. Becton will likely switch and play better than Fant switching. Fant at right tackle may be a weakness. I do understand the point, CD. There's no doubt that Fant has been better at left tackle versus right tackle. And it is quite possible that maybe Becton, could be much better at right tackle. But then you're going to have to ask yourself this. Are you definitely re-signing Fant for a long term? And are we so convinced that Becton, like, what if Becton has a decent drop off too? We don't know that. That's still an unknown. Okay. And it's like, listen, Becton was really solid as a rookie. He had his flaws, but every rookie tackle has their flaws. Okay. The Vikings should be a team to fear in the run game. By the way, Dalvin Cook is no joke. Yeah. Dalvin Cook is really, really good. Although he does get banged up quite a bit. Okay, any cap casualties that you think Joe Douglas can pick up on the waiver wire? Linebacker, defensive tackle, swing tackle. I keep hearing that Deion Jones could be a cap casualty, but somebody was saying he's a shell of his former self. So, beating playoffs teams last season definitely made my season. Yeah. Think Belichick beat Miami with Brissett. I don't think it was Miami. At least not the game that I'm talking about, where Jacoby, it was his first career start. Speaking of Belichick versus Miami, that is one team that's kind of had his number over the years. They always seem to split with Miami. It seems like every year they do. Michael Clemens will beat teams with his voice. Dude sounds like Zeus and God had a baby. Oh, interesting. Yeah, his press conferences were fun. Definitely give him that. Really pulling for Clemens though. Yeah, me too, man. Like, seems like he's had like a rough patch. I heard Scott Mason did a podcast where he was interviewing some Texas A&M beat reporter, and it seemed like obviously he went to JUCO and he's a little bit on the older side now because of that, and seems like he was banged up quite a bit in his career. So and obviously he had the I don't want to get into all the legal aspects of things, but he's had some run-ins with the law. So if he could kind of make a name for himself and turn his life around and get a nice contract and stuff, that'd be great. All right. Make your own Kyle Smith show. I don't know about that. I like riding shotgun to Blewett. Blewett puts in more work than I do. So it's just nice for me to ride the coattails. All right. Regardless, if he bites on screen or draw, he's an upgrade over Mr. trying to get a sack on run plays Huff. Yeah, I would say he is a higher upside than Huff. Huff's a nice player. Huff probably has like a wider variety of moves and things like that. Sometimes Huff will hit a nice spin move and stuff, but I feel like Huff is kind of, I know he's like 255. He doesn't look like he's 255, and he's like 6'2", and he's got kind of short arms. Clemens is a higher upside, definitely. Definitely go after more offensive tackles in the next draft. If you can get a good one, sure. Enjoying your takes. Glad you stayed on. Yeah. Didn't know that I'd be doing this, but I'm glad I stayed on too. Hope Blewett's enjoying the time with the family. All right. A defensive end absolutely needs to be able to get to the quarterback, but that isn't the only skill a defensive end need and possesses. Set the edge, etc. Yeah. In terms of Clemens setting the edge, he's solid. I wouldn't say that he's a great run defender. Jermaine Johnson's definitely good. Yeah, with Clemens too, like, he likes to hit the cross chop a lot, but and he's got the long arms. Like, his chop is pretty good, like when he hits the cross chop, but like him transitioning from making, like, he throws it so slow, although he throws it with power. But after he throws his moves, like, his ability to close on a quarterback is not that great. Like, he's lacking the explosiveness. All right. Phil says, cheers, Kyle and crew. Gotta go. Edward Stewart says, pressure, pressure, pressure. Miami has for some time has had coaches with connection to Belichick or Saban, so they know his way. This is absolutely true. Yeah. Let's see if I could scroll up and see some other things that I might have missed. Edward Stewart says, exactly on the assignments. Why don't you guys, any people who are still listening, throw in some people in the chat who you think the Jets should potentially sign? And if I have any opinions on said players, I can maybe comment. Let's see. Yeah, training camp. All right. Got to head out now. It was great tuning into this stream, and I hope you all have a great time rest of the day. I hope great rest of the day. Hey, by the way, let me know if you've heard any connection issues since Blewett has left. If not, then you know who the problem was. All right. Never played organized football. Is tackle in the mouth during game really legal? I'm not sure what you mean by tackle in the mouth, like hitting somebody like in the face. If that's what you're talking about. For example, hitting a defenseless receiver, like let's say a receiver's catching a ball over the middle and you go and you aim, like you're taking your helmet and you're aiming straight for the receiver's helmet. That is not legal. However, if a running back has the ball and he's running through the hole and you hit him helmet to helmet going through the hole, he's considered not a defenseless player. He's on the offense, so to speak, and that is completely legal. So Nikki Free says audio is good, but your video is desynced. Oh, that sucks. Your mouth is out of sync with your words, but you are not frozen. And that sucks. So I guess maybe I had internet issues too. Maybe it was the both of us, and that was why it was so terrible. Besides the obvious two, wouldn't mind Richardson reunion, a backup swing tackle. Okay, so he's talking about Sheldon Richardson. Yeah, I actually put that out probably about a month ago. I would definitely be down for a Sheldon Richardson reunion. Especially, I haven't heard of any locker room problems with him in recent years. You know, he was known to be a little tough guy to deal with. Obviously, Brandon Marshall was as well. But, you know, sometimes when people become an elder statesman, they kind of, pipe down a little bit. So, yeah, Alexander Hunt likes Richardson as well. Yeah, that would be great, I think. All right. You never froze on the stream, only Joe. Okay, so he seems to be, he seems like he was a little bit worse. I'm actually, I am hardwired in. I'm not on Wi-Fi like Joe was, but I am actually using a different internet connection. I'm trying something a little bit different. So I don't know if I like it or not. If anybody can let me know if you've ever seen my voice, my audio and video being desynced, have you ever seen that previously? Because if you haven't, then that tells me that this is worse than what I had previously. All right, Brandon Marshall is gone, so let's go. Yes, really one of the better offensive tackles. Darrell Williams or Riley Reif would be solid backups. Yeah, the thing about Riley Reif is I believe he gets hurt so much, but when he is on the field, he is solid. So, if you have a guy who's not starting every game, and you only have to rely. The problem is like, what if he does get banged up in practice or something like that? And then the week that your tackle gets banged up, both of them are on the shelf. And then you don't really have a backup. But if he's not going to be your starter all the time, then, unless I think it's Reif who has a lot of injury history. I know Brian Bulaga has had a ton of injuries. I might be confusing the two for some reason. Let's see. I'm not a big fan of the Niners scheme being employed by the Jets. And is it the same as the one Kyle ran with Ryan and the Falcons? There are probably some tweaks here and there. You always tweak your scheme based on your personnel and stuff. But from my understanding, it's pretty damn similar. Maybe Will Fuller. Yeah, I don't know about Will Fuller. I mean, he had the whole substance abuse thing, and he's very frequently hurt as well. And he's got stone hands. So, and I mean, like, you could argue that, like, Will Fuller's like a really good deep threat, but it's like I feel like the Jets have deep threats now. Garrett Wilson is a solid deep threat, as is Elijah Moore. So I don't really know what he's going to bring to your offense. Like, you want to take either of those guys out for reps for Will Fuller? I'm not interested in that. What about players we can get off of waivers? Yeah, throw some names in there. Didn't really notice previous audio desync before today. Okay, so yeah, that probably tells me that it has something to do with my current internet connection. I can't recall you having sync issues, says Mark Orlando. I've always liked Sheldon. Not sure what he has left, though, other than his smoke problem he had. He was soiled. CD says, when I said uploading, I was referring to security cameras uploading to the cloud, competing with Joe streaming to YouTube. Alexander Hunt, Ryan and the Falcons had Julio, so def not the same unless Garrett is the next Julio. Oh, well, I'm definitely not comparing those guys at all. Let's see. In terms of that Falcons team, let's see. Let's try to think of all the personnel they had. So they had Julio, and obviously that was Julio at his apex. Their offensive line was much solid. So their center, his name's slipping my mind at the moment. He was at his best years. Jake Matthews was, probably had his best couple of years there as well. I'm trying to think who else they had on the offensive line. Tevin Coleman was at his best at that point. You had Devonta, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has his best years ever under Kyle. I mean, I think he had that year. He was averaging like 9-something yards per attempt or whatever. But you want to talk about in terms of the quarterback. I mean, both Matt Ryan and Jimmy G, both of those guys are pretty immobile quarterbacks. So in that sense, it was kind of similar. But I did study the 49ers offense. I read a couple books and watched a lot of all 22 on it, more so than I did the Falcons. So it's hard for me to make direct comparisons and know what exactly did they do different? What were their tendencies? What did they do more? Did they run more of this? It's a little bit tough for me to say, but I really don't think there's that many differences, to be honest. Steven says, and by the way, thank you so much for the super chat, $10. Steven says, how did you, Joe, and come to do this pod? I'm new to this channel by a few months and would like some backstory. I really enjoy both of your takes and breakdowns. Okay, so being that you give a super chat, I'll give you the most detailed answer that I possibly can. All right, so back in 2015, I started a podcast. I love podcasts ever since I found out about them. And I kind of wanted to do one. And football has always been, for a long time, my favorite sport and probably by far my biggest hobby, one of the few hobbies that I have. So I wanted to start a podcast, but I wanted it to be unique. I was listening to Jets podcasts and stuff, and you always kind of hear overlap of what people are saying and stuff, and I wanted to kind of be original. So me and my brother came up with this idea. I told him, I was like, listen, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. I'm thinking about doing one on the AFC East, because my brother and I, for years, I come from a family of people that like to debate and argue. So my brother's a big Buffalo Bills fan. So I was like, what do you think about doing a podcast on the AFC East? Right? I'm a Jets fan. You're a Bills fan. What do you think about that? And he was definitely down for the idea. So we did that for about 2 years, and it was definitely a lot of fun. But as you can imagine, it was a lot of work. So, but anyway, how does Joe tie into this? Well, so it was around the time I had heard, I guess, Joe, I would call into some other Jets podcasts at times, and I called into Let's Talk Jets, and I believe that Joe heard me on there. He followed me on Twitter. I followed him back, and we had started exchanging DMs, and he told me about his show that he was doing, Jet Nation Radio, and here or there, he had me on. At the time, he was doing it with his longtime buddy and high school friend, Vinny. And I remember it was during the summer one year, the three of us, we did a top position groups. We ranked these players at any given position groups on Jet Nation Radio. And then I remember Joe saying that Vinny doesn't want to do this long term. I'm thinking of, would you like to be a co-host for me? And I was like, well, I'd love to, but I'm still doing my own thing with the AFC East, and that's a lot of work and stuff. And then I did my podcast for probably about a year more. But the thing is as you start doing this, you kind of realize what you can do better and stuff. And I realized that in order for me to really feel like I have really strong opinions about players and things like this, I have to always watch every single coach's film of every game and stuff. And I did watch a really good portion. But imagine how so when I watch like Jets all 22, I would say easily one game is going to take me 10 hours to watch easily. It could take up to 20 sometimes, depending on how long the game is, how important the game is, what I'm looking for, etc. So imagine doing that with 4 teams every week. All right. It was quite a lot. So eventually I stopped doing my pod. And then anyway, so Joe started like co-hosting his show with Glenn Naughton. And then like a couple years down the road, like Joe was, like kind of branching off, and I might be confusing the timelines a little bit with something, but Joe and I were probably going to do a show together just specifically on the Jets, because like I miss doing podcasting, but I knew that I couldn't do the AFC East and do it well as I wanted to do it. But I felt like I could do the Jets and still have like a good grasp of the team and stuff. So we were going to do one, but then some personal things came up in life and I wasn't able to do one. And then things got a little bit easier in life a couple years later. And Blewett asked me again, like, hey, I'm going to be doing some, YouTube live streams. Would you be down to do them with me? And I was like, yeah, definitely. Because at that point, I was out of podcasting for a couple of years, and I would make I'd make appearances with him here and there. We talked about on the last stream that we did. He and I did a Leonard Williams film breakdown together. We did one on Jordan Jenkins together, and he would have me on for, sometimes we do we've done the top 25 Jets things for years now. We've probably been doing that for like 5 or 6 years in a row, and certain other shows here or there. But we've been doing this consistently now for probably like a year and a half or whatever. But so he heard me on a show. We became friends. We don't hang out in person as much as I'd like, but that's life, getting busy and stuff. And hopefully if the Jets are good this year and I go to more games and stuff, we'll get to. But I would say like he's one of my closest friends at this point in life now, and we just met through doing this. So I don't know. I hope that answers your question. And I tried to go into detail and stuff because you gave a very generous super chat. So appreciate that. Okay. Let's see. Alexander Hunt says Freeman O-line was okay. Alex Mack was a stud. Yes, he was absolutely a stud. Mohamed Sanu and Julio were the big ones. And yes, Sanu was just a jag, if we're being honest. But Julio was on another level. Harold says that Quan Alexander or Deion Jones, if cut, would be fine at linebacker. How do you see the Jets stopping anyone's running game? This is a huge concern for me. It is for me as well. And that's why they need to do something on the interior defensive line. That's still a pretty big hole in my opinion. Some people might say, and part of the reason I say that, listen, Robert Saleh, the way that he plays, he's not going to play Quinnen Williams 80% of the snaps. Like if you look at guys like Ndamukong Suh, when he was at the best in his career, he was only playing like low 80% of the snaps. Aaron Donald's like a exception. Like maybe he plays close to 90% of the Rams snaps, but even so, I mean, like Aaron Donald, even when healthy, he's not going to play 100% of the Rams snaps. That's just the way D-line rotations work. But Saleh likes to rotate more than other guys. So like, yeah, you might think that Quinnen is pretty damn good, but what do you have after him on the interior defensive line? Yeah, it's definitely a concern. Akeem Hicks, yeah, he was really good. So he was good actually with the Patriots. I'm trying to think, what team did he play for prior to coming to the Patriots? He was good when he was with the Patriots, the 1 year he was there. And then when he went to the Bears, took his game to another level. But he's on the older side now. I think he's around 35, if I'm not mistaken. So how much juice does he have left? Deion Jones could be like some Jets fans look at Mosley last year. Team is so deprived of talent that he tries to do too much. And so to the average fan, they looked like they regressed. Good point, Nikki Free. Good point. Dave Echeverry says, Baldinger compared Garrett Wilson to Tay Adams. I believe that's Devontae Adams. Bold take, but Wilson actually has a better hands than Adams did out of Fresno State. He dropped a lot his first year. Yeah. And hands is obviously really important for a receiver. I mean, if you drop a ball on like third down or something like that, just kills a drive. It's obviously there are some things to playing receiver that are more valuable than hands. But in terms of the comparison, I didn't watch enough. I really didn't watch Davante Adams coming out of college, so I can't say with that comparison. I don't know that it's such a great comparison in general. I'm trying to think of the things that they do really well. I wouldn't consider Davante Adams a great yak guy. Davante Adams, his release, the thing that makes him really special is his release game is so good. Like he's got a variety of releases. So he's really good in that regard. He's very good at the catch point too. Although I think that Garrett Wilson has a higher upside when it comes to making like acrobatic catches and stuff too. So, but this is why player comps are so hard. They might have one similarity, but not so many others. Edward Stewart, thanks, Kyle. Dinner time, great show. All right, appreciate that, Edward. You tuning in for as long as you did. Alexander Hunt, Joe slid into your DMs. LOL. Yes, he did. Even though he might not admit that, but that's how it happened. But once I listened to his show for the first time too, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely like one of the Jets best Jets podcasts out there. And I'll say this too, Joe has grown a lot. He's a couple years younger than me, so I'm 32. I'll be 32 in the summer. I'll be 33 in the summer. Excuse me. Joe is, if he's not 29 yet, he's going to be 29 soon. I forget exactly when his birthday is. So he's a couple years younger than me. And I'll say, like, the both of us, and any Jets fan for that matter, or any football fan in general, if you follow it long enough, you study enough, you're going to get better and understand the game more. But you want to talk about someone like who's really grown a lot. Like he's grown a lot. He's taught himself a lot about the game. He's, used the term autodidact. Like he's self-taught. Like he didn't coach at any high level. He didn't play at any high level. I'm saying like he didn't play in college or anything like that. Like he's self-taught, just, hours of grinding film, trying to get better, watching coaching clinics and things like that. Like I've really been impressed with his growth throughout the years, and I definitely learn a lot from him. Okay. Timothy Garrett says, we have no way to stop run from anyone, also screen pass or tight ends. Dude, the Jets run defense was disgusting last year. And I say disgusting in a bad way, because sometimes people say disgusting and they mean it's actually, it's nasty in like a good way. It was so bad last year, dude. The Jets just got killed on trap plays so many times last year. Think about how many times the Patriots gashed them on a trap play. You got Jets interior defensive lineman flying up the field, and then all of a sudden this guard traps them, and then the Patriots running backs getting the ball, just makes a little wiggle, and then he's off to the races 30 yards downfield. It was disgusting. C said, I saw the Falcons offense as being more conventional, deep ball passing. Niners is so much more short passing and very run centric. I don't know that I agree with that either, because Matt Ryan actually does not have a good deep ball. So, yeah, he wins a lot with the quick game as well. Let's see. Is Anthony Hitchens still available? Oh, I wouldn't. Dude, Anthony Hitchens, I'm not interested. Now, could he be better than Quincy Williams? Maybe. But definitely the upside is not there. I'll tell you this. He got abused in that Bills playoff game. Abused. He started that game because the normal starting linebacker for the Chiefs, who stepped in at some point in the season, he had some kind of he violated some team policy, so they benched him for like the first drive or whatever, and the Bills marched all the way down the field, and he was constantly getting exposed. It'd be like third down, and a running back would scoot out of the backfield, and Hitchens had him. It was Hitchens' man. Running back would catch the ball, break a tackle on Hitchens, get the first down, convert a third down. I think Hitchens is washed, and I'll say this from having conversations with pretty smart Chiefs fans at the stadium. They all hated him, and definitely say that he's washed. So, not interested. Let's see. Is Sue still out there? I'm definitely going to take him. Yeah, Mike, I actually mentioned that to Joe. I would take Sue. But the thing is Sue likes his money. I feel like the Bucs re-signed him. But if he's still out there, I'd be down for that. he is older. He's definitely not the same player. Thing about Sue too is he's kind of versatile. You can put Sue out as a 5 technique and he can collapse the pocket. And he still has enough juice that he can win on pass rush moves. He's, decent at the run game at this point in his career. So the thing about Stu is the money, and is he a good team fit? Those are the questions I have with him. And does he want to come to a team that's not, potentially Super Bowl bound? Yes, he does have a ring. So like some players might say, listen, I got a ring. Nobody can ever tell me I didn't get a ring. Let me just go to a team that's just willing to pay me. So he might take the Jets, but does he want to go to a team that's, not necessarily a Super Bowl contender? I don't know. CD says, you speak well, Kyle. Think through your ideas. I like it. See when your gears are turning. I'll appreciate that very much. Very generous of you to say that. Okay. Alexander Hunt says, non-Jets question. Do you think Julio Jones goes to Green Bay or Indianapolis? If I'm Julio, I'd rather go to Green Bay. No question about it. But money talks. So I don't know. Devontae Adams isn't explosive. He's more deliberate. Yeah, he's definitely not the most explosive receiver. Just very, very, very crafty for sure. And another thing about Devontae Adams too, he has a great relationship with Aaron Rodgers. So, and obviously he played with Carr already, so they could have a very good chemistry as well. But I do not see it as being as good as what he had with Rodgers. Yeah, you guys are pups. I think he's talking about our age. Harold says Adams has explosive short area quickness, not a burner. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, like when do you see Devontae Adams like really like pulling away from people? Like you don't see it too often. I mean, like you talk about like these guys that the Jets have, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson. I mean, they can pull away from people. Nikki Freight, yeah, nothing wrong with the other Jets guys, but I just wish there was more substance to the analysis rather than just regurgitating what other analyst reporters say. Plus, you guys are funny as hell. Oh, like that. Yeah, we try to make it lighthearted and stuff, but it's funny. I like clowning him, and he likes clowning me whenever he gets the chance. For me, you guys, pro evaluation scouting is as good as any out there. Joe's breakdowns are insanely detailed. Very few people are doing that who I found. Yeah. And think about, the amount of time that he puts into it. And sometimes like when he does it too, like you could tell like he's very relaxed and stuff and he's drinking his drinks, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Like, and it's not just like watching the tape and making sure that you're alert enough to watch the tape, but it's also like pulling the screen grab app out, capturing the play, labeling the play, like all that stuff takes time. And, but then to like actually know what you're talking about. I feel like I'd do more if I could do this full time, but my job's pretty demanding too, as is his. I'm not trying to act like his isn't. That's why I say he works harder than me. Mike agrees with what I said about Sue. Wilson has a better yak ceiling than Adams. No question about it. And this is something that, so Joe said, he was talking about like how he sees Wilson as being more of a slot player, especially earlier on in his career, because he has to kind of work on what he does with press, especially when he's out on the boundary. And I do agree with that. And Joe said, I think he could be a very good yak guy. And I do agree. It's just, I wish I saw more yak situations for him. And even when they did give him the ball on end arounds, he was very good on those types of plays. So and think about the play that he had against Purdue, where he's stiff arming George Karlaftis as he's getting into the end zone. I hope that if I'm Mike LaFleur, I'm putting more design plays to get the ball in both Garrett Wilson's hands and Elijah Moore's hands on more design touches and stuff this year. Always you just want to keep the defenses on their toes all the time, because when you throw out a look that the teams haven't seen before, players aren't ready for it. And the Jets, they have guys who can do this now. So in terms of Garrett Wilson, his yak ability, yeah, I would definitely give him the nod over Devontae. Kyle, who is winning the AFC West? Ooh, that's a good question. I want to say that the Chargers are a little bit overrated. I mean, Herbert is a stud, no doubt about it. Seems like they finally got they do have a legit coach. They've done a lot to kind of improve the offensive line, getting Khalil Mack, still one of the best edge defenders in the league, signing JC Jackson, who might be, he might not live up to that contract, but he's still a good corner who definitely gets turnovers. I for me, it's going to be tough to say the Raiders. The Chiefs losing Tyreek, that's huge. And Denver with Russell now. Jerry Jeudy got a suspension, right? Or did Jerry Jeudy get a suspension? Let's see. And the coach is still unproven there in Denver. Part of me wants to say the Chiefs, but I look at all those other teams as getting better, and it's hard to argue and say. Now, the Chiefs did have a good draft. I'll still say the Chiefs. But I'm not confident in saying it. If I had to pick a second team, I'd say the Chargers. Third, I would probably say the Broncos. And fourth, I'll say the Raiders. But you want to talk about a stacked division? That's it. Okay. Okay. Mike says, yeah, absolutely. Me personally, if I were him, I know it's the moneymaker, but the pre-draft stuff, it would be hard to invest so much in guys who likely end up on other teams. But with that said, I enjoy it. Let's see, Mike. I'm very interested to see how Russell Wilson fits in Denver. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because his whole career with Pete Carroll, and Russell's always been one of my favorite quarterbacks ever since he got into the league. And I remember always reading those stories how the Jets were super high on him, and supposedly they were going to take him in the third round. They picked 2 picks after Seattle. What could have been, right? But I mean, Russell's been so healthy throughout his career. He's barely missed any games. His last couple of years in Seattle weren't so great, but you're talking like he's never really had great offensive lines. DK is a really stud receiver. And I know that earlier on in his career, Russell wasn't working with much in terms of receivers. Granted, he did have beast mode and he had that stud defense, so he didn't have to pass the ball a ton, but I always thought he was a really good quarterback. Let's see. CD says, you guys are all the way higher on more than I am. I just don't see it. His height or inability to high point is an issue. Are you referring to like his like leaping ability, like him jumping up to get a ball and obviously having shorter arms and stuff? I can see what you're talking about there. And listen, I'd be lying if I said that that's a strength of his game to high point a ball. It's not. But he wins in a wide variety of other ways that he's still good. Like, so the thing with Moore is part of the reason he's still a pretty good deep ball threat is A, his speed, and B, his savviness in his route running. So like if you pop on his Ole Miss tape, specifically that Vanderbilt game, watch him run some sluggo routes and just completely dust these guys. Like the way that he sells his routes and the crispness in which he breaks, and then he's got the speed to pull away, he's still a pretty good deep ball threat in that regard. Now, if I'm throwing a deep ball up into, you never want to throw it up with double coverage with a safety over the top. Do I expect him to high point a ball over Sauce Gardner or something like that? No, but like the thing with Moore is like, he can win, like he can literally run every route in the route tree and you feel like he can do it well. In terms of, now the thing is he doesn't have long arms and he is short. And I wouldn't say that he can't jump out of the gym either, but he does extend his arms every time he catches the ball. He is not a body catcher. And that's one way that I like him better than Jalen Waddle. Watch Jalen. I'm not saying that I like him better overall, but in this one specific area of their games, Jalen Waddle, you watch him, he's a body catcher. All right. As is Jamison Williams. Elijah Moore, arms extended, catches with his hands. So is he going to be the guy who's going to high point balls all the time? Like Mike Evans, or even like, this is a strength of, I'm forgetting the USC kid's name that just came out. Like, that's not Elijah Moore's game. So I'd be lying if I said it was a strength, but he wins in a wide variety of other ways that I think he's going to be a stud. So, but I do see your concern there. Russ is a very unique player. I want to see how it translates into a different environment. Yeah, we'll see. You could say the same about Cooper Kupp. Yeah, Cooper Kupp, I mean, like, he's not a guy who's going to, run the 9 route all the time and high point a ball. But, you want to talk about a guy who can run so many different routes, he's going to be there. Understands coverages, where to sit in the soft spotted zones, solid hands. Yeah, he's a good player. And I'm probably going to end this probably in about 5 or so minutes. Okay. Roland says if Mims is a little slow on the playbook and more wide receiver weapons for Zach to use, would it be worth it if LeBooth runs simple scheme plays for him to use his strength? I'm not exactly sure I'm understanding your question. Like, give Mims more design touches, is if that's what you're saying, or run simple schemes. Yeah, I gotta be honest. Like, what I saw from Mims last year, and the fact that I just drafted Garrett Wilson 10th overall, Corey Davis is still sitting on a pretty big contract. I'm not designing my offense around Denzel Mims. If Denzel Mims is going to get any playing time this year, it's going to be A, because of injuries, and B, because he earned it. But I'm not going to be looking to adjust my playbook to get this guy who, quite honestly, played pretty terribly last year. Mike says, with Moore, I think we're going to see him primarily in the slot this year, where I think he could be a Wes Welker, but Zach needs to throw in front of him. Yeah, I mean, he can definitely have a Wes Welker type impact in the slot, but the thing is, too, is he's got the ability that Wes Welker doesn't have, that he can also play on the boundary, because he does have that deep burner speed. Drake London, yeah. Okay. Alex says, oh my God, Deshaun Jackson was the man on deep balls, and he was 5'10". Yeah, but again, though, like, okay, but think about it, though, Alex. And you are right. Deshaun Jackson was the man. He's one of the best deep ball threats of all time. I don't think that's, but I think CD Points was high pointing the ball. And Deshaun Jackson, you don't really see him high pointing balls either. That's not his game. And then that goes into my point, Alex, which I think you're kind of agreeing with me, that you can still win on deep balls without necessarily high pointing it and stuff, just because you just have that extra gear to pull away from people. And Deshaun Jackson definitely had that for sure. And I think that Elijah Moore has really good speed as well. Now, I know he ran like a 4.35, but it was like a pro day 4.35. So what is that? Like, is it like a high 4.3, very low 4.4? Okay. But the play speed is good too. I mean, some guys run a fast 40, but they don't have the play speed. Elijah Moore does have the play speed. Are you higher on JJ after the draft? I'm assuming you may have watched more film by now. Yeah, I believe I answered this in last week's stream. Yes, a little bit higher. I do feel that he played pretty good against Ike Ekwonu. That was one game that I did not watch on my own and break it down. And I feel like he had a pretty solid game. One thing, like, we were talking about, I forget which edge defender we were talking about before. And we were talking about how if an edge defender doesn't have a motor, I don't like him. And J-Day definitely has that. Like, he's constantly chasing down ball carriers. Like, if they run some type of like toss play or whatever to the opposite side, J-Day is going to run the complete way to try to get it. So I like that. That's something that you can't necessarily coach or teach into people. You can try to make a guy into a dog, but they kind of just have that or they don't. So I do feel like he has that. I'm trying to think what else I said, why I was a little bit higher on him too, but that was definitely one of the reasons that made me a little bit higher on him. And in terms of him beating Icky, I'm trying to think what moves he beat him with and stuff. I feel like he got him on a spin move once, and he definitely got him with like one or two club arm overs where it was like really sudden, like where like JJ, like, you know, like he's always coiled and ready to go at the snap. And, you know, like when he's playing in more of like, because he's really good against the run, and sometimes like when he's kicked out too far wide and he's got a lot of space to make up, like he's got the gear to get to people, but he's just thinking too much. But sometimes when you put him in a more of a confined area and he doesn't have to think as much and come up with a plan as much, and he can just kind of react instinctively, you see him win a little bit more. And sometimes they would have like kind of condensed sets where he was kind of almost like instead of like a 5, he was like in a 4 over Icky. Or like if he was like a 5, he was like really on top of him, like as opposed to being shaded outside a little bit more. And he beat Icky with like a club and an arm over, like really sudden, quick sinking of the hands. And it looked pretty good. So I would say I'm a little bit higher on him than I was before. if that answers the question. Did someone super chat? Oh, Justin Sanders says $4.99. Thank you. If you can guarantee a win for one game on the schedule, which would it be? Ooh, this is a great question. Let me pull up the schedule and look at it one more time. All right, Ravens, Brown. We've beaten the Ravens a couple times over the years. Browns, I mean, they're in general have been a laughing stock throughout the years. Bengals, we beat them last year. Steelers, we beaten them a couple times, although in Pittsburgh. But I mean, come on, who's their quarterback? Trubisky. Dolphins, I hate the Dolphins, so that's in contention. Although we play them twice. Packers, haven't beaten them in a while. Denver, when's the last time we won in Denver? So that's a contention. I think I know my answer. Here's what I'm going to say. A win in Foxborough. When's the last time we won in Foxborough against the Patriots? Was it 2010, the playoff game, which was January 2011? Was that the last time? Please, someone in the chat, help me out. I feel like that was the last time we won in New England. So if that's the case, that's a long time. So that would be the game that I choose. Okay. Harold says he disagrees with Mike regarding, I believe, Wilson. Wilson will likely be in the slot. He just doesn't have the release package needed to be an outside receiver from day one. Moore played over 70% of his snaps on the outside last year. Good point. Chad Ochocinco actually said he wants to see more in the cup role, different players, but could be an interesting variant. Yeah, I'd like that. I actually did see that as well. Okay. CD says he thinks JJ is going to surprise to the upside. There's something special about him, and I haven't seen him play a snap with the Jets. I do like the way that he handles himself with the media and stuff, and it does seem like he is very dedicated to his craft and that he believes in himself. So I'm all there for that. Mike says that if he could choose one win, it would be the Ravens, get that first dub, and anything can happen from there. That is a very good point as well. Hey, yeah, you beat a team that's good year in, year out, week one, home opener, get the fans, and then more and more fans are going to want to go to future games. Definitely see it. All right, guys, it's been so fun. Thank you for everyone who super chatted. And I don't even have YouTube open right now. I don't even know how many people are currently. Let me click and see how many people are. It says 65 currently watching. So obviously it's later and people drop off anyway. And I'm assuming a lot of people dropped off when Blewett left. Totally understandable. But the fact that people stuck around anyway, pretty damn cool. So much appreciated. Roland says, great show. Good night, everybody. Yep, same. Good night, everybody. It was fun. Love doing these, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. All right, peace.